Okay. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 14 of B.O.B.B. This is a long episode. As always, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. I felt like we were going to have more, but I think that's it, right? Just Facebook and Twitter right now? We got Facebook and Twitter. Maybe we'll make an Instagram page, but as always, join the conversation on Facebook. That's where all of us, Mike and I will engage you is on Facebook. And in this episode, Mikey, you want to take it away? Tell them what we talked about, what we discussed, and what exactly happened on this crazy ride.
Listen, I don't think I have time to cover everything that came up.
It was unexpected.
Turned down the wrong road and carried on.
A lot happened. I'll say that. A lot happened. And also, guys, for those of you that I told we were going to have Harley on here, we were going to have her back on. We had an episode and a technical issue. Excuse me. So we're going to get that fixed. We're going to have her on probably our very next episode 15 here. But I just wanted to make that a note right up front here. So in the episode, we talk about cancel culture, as well as calling people out and checking the fact checkers. And then Daniel's girlfriend, not sure if she's wife, one of the two, got on and discussed men and women's rights and equality. So it was a bit more in between, obviously, but those are kind of the bullet points, I feel, of the episode. You think?
Yeah, it's not bad. We did discuss a few other things, and we'll let that slide for now. You'll hear it if you
y'all go be surprised about that, all right now. I'll tell you what. No, it was true. It was a little random, a little all over the place, even for me, but some good points were brought up that I think are important, and hopefully you get something from this episode. Let us know what you think. As always, you can always email. I don't know our email, Micah. Do you know our email?
Yeah, it's bandofbeardedbrothers.us@gmail.com.
Perfect. So once again, that's bandofbeardedbrothers@us.
No.
Something. No?
bandofbeardedbrothers.us@gmail.com.
Oh, I pretty much had it right. I just forgot the @gmail. Okay. Well, anyways, you can email us there, or more than likely, you want to get a immediate response, you can find us on Facebook and message us through our Facebook group or directly. And we will engage you. I will engage you hard. You understand me? Full engagement. So anyways, you guys, enjoy episode 14, and we'll get the next one up here with Harley as soon as possible. Maybe we'll find a way to get the one episode we did. It was a Project Bluebeam, and some stuff didn't quite turn out. Maybe we can get a way to figure out to get that finished up. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll keep that as like a little bonus thing. We'll like a special episode for our special listeners. If you guys didn't know, there's a special listeners group. And if you didn't know about it, it means you're not part of it. And you need to start asking questions. Why aren't you part of it? Anyways, you guys, be safe, stay safe, enjoy your quarantine as much as possible, unless you're essential. And then, still be really safe, because you probably have a dangerous job, so be safe. And, I think that's it, right, Micah? Yeah. And, TikTok on, Hero Bioskins. Anyways, all right, I'm done. Let's start this episode. Let's go. Here we go. Episode 14 of B.O.B.B, guys. Tonight we got the one and only. I've always wanted to ask you this. Is it Daniel Clounch, or it is Daniel Clounch, right?
Yeah, you said it right the first time.
Perfect. So we're putting your full name out there if you guys want to follow him on, IG. You want to follow any of the media platforms. But we're bringing him on tonight. We're going to be discussing cancel culture, as it's become a very prominent part of our social media life, I guess you could say, and even rolled into what I refer to as real life. And then also we're going to be dealing with fact checkers, specifically fact checkers that perhaps are giving the stamp of approval on things that don't deserve it, or removing things just because they don't agree with that point of view. So basically, fact checking the fact checkers. So that's going to be tonight's episode in a nutshell. Who knows where it's going to go? If you listen to the show before, you know that it usually doesn't go in a straight line. Mike is well acquainted with this. Daniel's going to learn. So that's basically tonight's episode. Dan, you want to introduce yourself real quick? Where are you from, if you even want to mention to people? Because we had a funny thing happen where we thought we were an hour apart tonight, and we're 3 hours apart. So
Yeah, no, I'm from Tucson, or not Tucson, but I'm from Arizona. I just moved to Sierra Vista earlier this year.
Nice. Arizona.
Is it hot there?
No, dude, in Sierra Vista right now, it's actually really nice and comfy.
Nice.
But in the city, I'm so glad I moved out of there. It was just loud, it's noisy, it's a bunch of ruckus going on. But out here, it's kind of
hooligans.
Yeah.
Up there.
It's kind of funny though. Like, I lived in Tucson for nearly 26 years, and then I move out here, and within the first few months of me being here in Sierra Vista, I get into an accident.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't even my fault either, but yeah.
Well, that's because country people don't really stop for the stop signs. Those are like guidelines, just suggestions.
It was a red light.
Oh, it's a red light.
The girl ran a red light.
Probably make it a TikTok. Not gonna lie. That's
Yeah. William knows all about that.
Hey, you shut your whore mouth. What happens on TikTok stays on TikTok.
Posted like 15 videos in 2 days.
Yeah,
oh my
I did.
God,
No,
are you serious?
well, I got drunk one night. I got drunk and I felt inspired, and I made like 9 in one night. It's worth checking out, guys, if you want to check out my TikTok. I'm just kidding. You're going to be strongly disappointed. But speaking of TikTok, so I actually knew this about TikTok, making my TikTok, but I still made it anyways. So TikTok, if you are anywhere in the U.S. military whatsoever, doesn't matter what branch, they have recommended, and I'll move to the point of pretty much demanding that you do not make a TikTok account. Have you noticed if you go on TikTok, you can't find any military people? Like, try to go find one. You'll find somebody who might have, like, wears a uniform or says they're in boot camp, but you will not find legitimate military people. The reason being, I guess somebody, I can't remember if it was a mixture of China and somebody else, but they're the ones who made this specific app. And the military put out a statement and some studies on it basically saying that, like, this is definitely a spying tool. It's like 100%. But at the same time, I'm like, that's like all of them. So, I mean, I don't
really... for the article right now. I think I sent it to you.
Oh, did you send it to me? Nice.
So, yeah.
That's what throws me off, is that, like, you're going to pick one out of all of them. But yeah, that is a major issue for all, I guess, media platforms. If you get on social media, pretty much when you agree to the terms of service, I mean, it's almost impossible to be on social media without handing the key away from them. Excuse me. And I find things asking for permission to be on my phone that make zero sense to me anymore. Like, to log into my bank. I'm sure you guys have a bank. If you have an account, you probably have a mobile app. And every time I try to log on there now, I shouldn't say every time, but about every other time, it wants permission to track my location. And I can't remember the other thing is. And I'm like, why? You're like, I'm just trying to check my money in my account that has nothing to do with my location. So, but before we really get into that too hardcore, Micah, you're kind of you're the second half of our show. So Daniel, as you may or may not know about our show, we deal with a lot of weird crap. Okay, I probably should say this right. I talk about a lot of weird crap. Micah's like brings some normalcy to the whole conversation pretty much. Like, I deal with aliens, Bigfoot, fringe topics, weird bullcrap, broners. That's pretty much that's my area of expertise.
That's such a new word to me, man, bro.
Is it new? Okay,
It's
so
such a new word.
I think William just made it up on the fly. It's just like stoner, man.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure it's even in obviously it's the Urban Dictionary, but I'm pretty sure it's in there. It's just, when your guy friend's looking really good and you're like, dude, you gotta settle down and give me a broner. Or like when we were at work, we were using it, like I said, rubbing up on each other. If somebody came up really close to you in a corner and you'd be like, dude, you need to settle down and give me a broner. That's the definition there, guys. So if you're not sure, try it out. It feels, say it. Just say
Try
it
out the proner.
But anyways, as I was saying, Mike is the political half of our show. And Maiko, thoughts and or feelings on cancel culture. If people are unsure of what cancel culture is, do you want to fill them in a little bit? And then we'll get some of Daniel's feedback and thoughts on that as well.
Okay, sure. Cancel culture is kind of, as William kind of already said in the intro, is kind of people that take other people's opinions down simply because they disagree with them, not necessarily because there's actually any merit to taking that content down. It's just it goes against whatever agenda they want to push, so they decide to cancel it. And being private companies, they have the legal right to do that. And that such as Facebook. I think there's a problem with the way that they have their website listed. So they're not a publisher, because if they were a publisher, they would be responsible for everything on Facebook, which obviously they can't do that.
Yeah.
But they get some of the immunities of a publisher, but they're God, what was it? I don't remember what their actual name was, but basically with the other one, they don't have certain immunities, and they get certain immunities under the publisher category without being a publisher. So they can have all sorts of other bullcrap where they can take people's content off just because they don't agree with it. Like, for instance, if you're into guns or anything like that, it's incredibly hard to find a group or anything like that goes with any transactions dealing with hunting, fishing, guns of any sort. Facebook immediately is just a no-go on that, even though you can't legally sell a gun to somebody else. Facebook's not facilitating that. They couldn't be held liable for it, but they still cancel it and get rid of it because it goes against their agenda. So that is what cancel culture is. Obviously, it's despicable. I don't like it. I think even if you have an opinion that I really dislike, I'm still gonna try to hear you out. There's certain people where I can't listen to them anymore. But I'm not gonna shut you down. I'm not gonna say that if someone posts something to our Facebook and I disagree with it, I'm not gonna take it down just because I disagree with it. That would make me just as bad. So I guess that's my take on it.
Okay.
What about yourself, Danny? What comes to mind for you when you hear the term cancel culture? What are your feelings on it?
Oh man, when I hear cancel culture, I kind of just start thinking socialism, just right off the bat. That's where my head goes. I mean, they start trying to regulate everything just to save somebody's feelings. It's just ridiculous. Why do you need to go to that extent? Because then you start infringing on people's rights, and then you start taking away rights. Or you know what I'm trying to say, but.
What's interesting, I'm sorry, Richard, it just came through for me, but the when you mentioned the infringing on people's rights, I don't know if this was the term you were looking for, Mike, or not, and I don't know off the top of my head either, but I was reading actually just a couple days ago, and it said that Facebook has, specifically Facebook has a loophole for this because, again, it's whatever term you're looking for, but basically, none of the amendments apply to them. So the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, none of that, they're a non-partisan, whatever it's called, they basically do not have to uphold that structure. They're their own private entity and can implement their own rules and regulations, which, okay, fair enough. I've always said,
one thing there, I'm pretty sure that's
we all got points here.
It's a private company. They all have the legal right to do what they like.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if they became a publisher, then they would have to actually put everyone's crap out there. They wouldn't be able to just. Okay, that's what it is. It's a publisher would be able to pick and choose what they want, which is what Facebook does, right? When they take crap down that doesn't really go against their guidelines, but they just say it does. That would be a publisher where they're picking and choosing their content, and they're actually it's another name. I don't remember what it is, but it allows people to post freely whatever and then they're getting away with some of that other stuff. And as that website, they're not really under that realm of things. They're not really supposed to have the rights to take comments and that kind of stuff down, because it's an open forum kind of thing.
See, when you start talking about stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure you've heard about those companies that were closed, like those bakeries that were closed down just because they had, a moral standard that they wanted. You know, like they didn't necessarily agree with it, but the internet got a hold of it and basically nearly almost tore those businesses up. It just goes down that slippery slope,
And that's what I've said with, like, okay, well, to be fair, I guess some people might ask too, at any point in time, is it good that Facebook has the ability to remove people's comments or videos? Is there a scenario where that's a positive thing versus it being a negative thing?
I think being as big of a platform as it is, I don't think it should. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. Because with how big it is, I think it should literally include everything.
That's true to the legal extent, I feel. I think as a website that's available to anyone that's 13 years or older, there's certain content that you're not legally allowed to show children.
I guess that's true.
There's some violent content that people have like live streamed them shooting people and that kind of stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff
Even
needs
suicides too.
Yeah, that kind of stuff should be. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you should be taking down.
Correct. And that's my stance on it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be taking down crap that just because that person shows a political view that doesn't match up with your own. That's what cancel culture is, and that's just there's so many problems with it.
Well, I think, to be clear too, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but to the letter of the law, but like the Urban Dictionary, cancel culture specifically is calling out for whatever platform this person holds. Usually somebody has some sort of a following or platform of some sort, right? Some people are actually consuming it. You could try to cancel culture, say, any one of us three probably, and we don't really have a following to cancel, right? We're not going to cancel any events. People aren't paying to show up and listen to us talk. But for those, they should. They should be. That's right. But for those who have it, that's what it's doing for them. And I think it's funny that they're specifically bringing up stuff sometimes from years ago. Now, again, this is why our parents and everybody else warned us about careful what you post on social media, because it follows you for life and whatever. But to be fair, if you're pulling up tweets from somebody 10 years ago, I mean, were you a different person 10 years ago than you are right now?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're basically fishing for
exactly.
At that point.
I mean, I think until we get probably our 40s past, and I'm sure we still change beyond that, but I don't think we're really completely rock solid 100% on who and what we are until we're probably pushing 40, where you could, for the rest of your life, probably be consistent on what you are. Prior to that, especially in your teens and 20s, and maybe even into your 30s, you're still figuring out, depending on the person, what's going on in life, where you're at on that. So I think it's funny for people to call out stuff that, particularly with, like big name people, actors and whatever else, and they seem to get support on either side, but this weird, it went beyond calling them out. It's like a mixture of cancel culture and calling them out. Like, they call them out on something to be an activist, right? Take a stand. I am offended. And if you now support this person in any way, shape, or form, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're, whatever terms we're going to throw on it that people love to throw around. I feel like the hyper attention of being offended has been, through the internet, amplified by 1,000%. It's beyond just, like you said back in the day, if you didn't like a business and you still have this option, believe it or not, you don't have to support them. You can just not support that. Yeah, and that's where I think it's dangerous, is that they're going beyond that. They're going into, destroying people's businesses like you talked about. And if people are 100% evil, maybe, okay, let's talk about it. But the stuff that always comes up that the media loves to play on the words that they know are going to get us all going. So pulling up the whole, that company that supported that, I know what you're talking about, it was the, I can't remember the name of the company specifically, but it was the cake, and they didn't want to make it for gay people. To me, it's whatever. If a gay couple came in and wanted a cake for me.
One thing I do have to interject there.
Yeah.
So they didn't refuse to make a cake for a gay couple. they refused to make a wedding cake for that couple because they were Christians or Catholic, I don't remember, but it goes against their religion. They didn't believe that a man was to be with another man, so they said
they didn't believe in broners.
I can't do that. It goes against my religion. I can't do it.
Oh, fair enough. They did. That's true. That's what happened. But I guess what I'm saying is, to me,
they did actually win that case too. By the way,
they did, but it did. I think initially it did close their business down. If I'm not,
it did for
just a little bit, not like.
Then something else was brought up though too. Something else against that company was brought up. I don't know if it was by the same gay couple, but it was brought up with another case.
Well, let's do this for example. Let's use the biggest one out there right now. Let's use the biggest one out there as an example, and my own aunt has strong feelings about this one, but it's because I have two aunts who are gay. But the Chick-fil-A has been probably across. I mean, I think anybody pretty much listening has heard of Chick-fil-A. Well, I guess we have people around the world listening. I forgot about that. If you guys don't know what Chick-fil-A is, Google it. They make chicken and they serve Jesus. That is their thing, and that's what they're all about. But being part of that, they don't really support gay marriage. Now, I don't think they've ever said anything like, we won't serve you if you're gay. Nothing like that. They just said, we don't support gay marriage. They've openly said this. And you have just as many people on the other side who are saying we openly support gay marriage, and nobody on the Christian side, at least, is openly saying it. I know some are thinking it, but none of them are openly holding this protest saying even when I see that, I'm going to be honest, even when I see a company that openly supports gay people, and if there's like a rally in front of them of Christian people, I still in the back of my head, I'm like, I get that that's how you're convicted in your feelings, but what are we doing here? Should you always stand for what you believe for? Sure. But I don't know that that's going to be the best way to get to them, I guess, if that's what you're going for. But that's just my opinion. Either you give them business or you don't. I don't understand this need to shut them down and you will listen to me. And that's
even law cases against those types of people just because you don't agree with them.
Right.
Those are the type. Okay, this is what bugs me. Those are the type of people that are so freedom of speech type people. They're the whole hear my feelings, but I won't listen to your type of feelings. You know what I mean? It just bugs the crap out of me.
No, they're
all about bringing. I don't know what the word is. Bringing
it's social justice.
Yeah,
social justice warriors.
Inclusiveness. Okay, you want. My head's going everywhere with this, but
no, I hear you.
Those types of people just drive me nuts. Why do you gotta go and ruin somebody's life? And just take your business elsewhere. I almost said it. Why the hell do you have to go and ruin this person's life?
Well, I think too, with what's weird about social media, and I could be wrong. Again, listen, we're just a couple dudes sitting in our basement. You may not be in a basement. I don't know. Maybe you're in your living room. That's right. We're just sitting here making weird faces. Dude, you know what I miss the most, to change subjects like I normally do here? Now that we have cameras, we can't do weird crap like that. We did weird crap like that all the time, and it was just the audio. We even joked. We're like, dang it, I got to put pants on now to do these episodes and get
I don't know about that.
I didn't know there was a dress code. Hang on a second.
Gear up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But what is amazing about social media and people consuming this, maybe you're listening on an audio version right now, maybe on Spotify, iHeartTunes, or whatever, iHeartRadio, or a YouTube channel. It gives us all the opportunity to express an opinion and have a voice. However, at the end of the day, I still know that my opinion is just my opinion. It's not, unless it's completely based in facts, right? I'm not going to change that part of it. But at the end of the day, if it's just an opinion, if it's not 100% based on facts, or if it's just a belief, then that's what that is. It does not make you the social warrior but I guess what I'm saying is it made us all feel like we had this voice that really matters. You know what I mean? And so we're really easily putting stuff out there. Sorry, go ahead.
Here's something that kind of goes along the lines of that. So you guys heard about that Nick Sandman kid, right?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, Sandman was the guy with the Native American.
Yeah, just a kid. So the story on him, and it's come back up because he's still under fire. This poor kid had his life ruined just because things were reported incorrectly. But it goes along saying, he was on there doing a field trip, with his fellow classmates and his teacher and everything, and they weren't harassing anybody. And this person comes up saying, he was a veteran of some sort and whatnot. And come to find out, they dig into that guy's history. He's not a veteran of anything. Yeah, he's a Native American, but he's not associated with the military at all. And in the background, it wasn't captured on the video or audio, but in the background when they were doing the investigation and whatnot, there was a African American calling out racial slurs to these students. The students just, I don't know if you've seen the video, but the students, that particular kid just stood there, just kind of, like he had a grin, whatever you want to call it. He had a face on, okay? He had a face on. He wasn't reacting to it. He wasn't calling racial slurs. He wasn't getting upset. But the internet got a hold of that and ruined this kid's life. It got to the point to where it got so bad to where a college kid, a similar name, similar everything, got his life just about ruined. They kicked him out of college because all of the facts were all wrong, and it was in a completely different state.
Jeez, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was so agitating with how skewed things can be so quickly,
Yeah,
he does have a pending lawsuit against CNN for defamation, though, and he's probably going to win a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, they're suing him for a ton.
It's possible because of his... It wasn't just CNN, though, that had the story. They were the main ones that covered it. And I think all the other news outlets out there took their story down real quick. But, yeah, it was a mess. This poor kid.
Well, the main thing that I seen, at least, from at the time was all of them, like you said, were reporting it. But Facebook, in particular, was just rampant with memes, and as any major thing that happens, that's always what comes up. But I've never seen so many people want to punch a kid for literally like just standing there. There were so many people who said they're like, I just want to punch that kid in the face. The way he's a little smirk on his face. But
those same people are the people that are going to yell at you about beating your kid. You spank your kid, CPS will call them on you.
I know, it's pretty messed up.
Maybe we should rephrase it.
Okay.
Not punish it.
It's I'll give you that. I'm not talking about like ragdoll style beat. I'm just like
constructive criticism.
There you go.
My hand on your butt. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that though, with that kid, is that, like you said, you're absolutely right. It ran wild. Again, this same incessant need to be the first on the story by every outlet that's supposedly respected, just running rampant with the story before they know all the facts. Because that story, I mean, we were talking like, I think it happened that night, because it was near night. By the next morning, it had already been uploaded. By noon that day, it was blowing up. Those kids weren't even back from that field trip yet. I believe they were just getting back on one of the two. But the point being, it was story already out there, people already knowing the facts, and the people that were involved in the event didn't even know the whole thing. Were there maybe some inequalities on each side? Perhaps. I don't know. I wasn't there. That's the thing too. We're relying on the original video. I think it was like a 35-minute video or some bullcrap, or 25 minutes. It was long, but they only played the clip of whatever 4 or 5 minutes to make it out like this one instance was going on, with totally misleading thumbnail. I think the one I seen said something along the lines of Native veteran trying to do some sort of ritual gets interrupted by Trump-toting teenagers, and basically broke up whatever it is they were doing, which was totally inaccurate. Those guys came up to them. But my point being, we know the story now and how it was completely false. And fact checkers at the time were nowhere to be found, right? Like, fact checkers are on everything now. I don't know if you guys have either of you personally encountered fact checkers in anything you post on anything. What has been your relationship? I guess we'll go with Daniel first. What's your relationship with the fact checkers?
Oh, they're stupid. They are those social warriors or social justice warriors. Every now and then they'll nail something right. In my opinion, they'll nail something that I actually do think did have some authenticity to it. But then they'll go and take down 2 of my posts. I don't even remember what they were, but it says that they're gone now. Mm-hmm. But they go and take down 2 of them, saying they've been removed or whatnot.
You violated our guidelines.
It's fun, you read those things, and it goes and says, that it may have been removed by initial poster, right? In my mind just starts thinking like, okay, what did you do to bully that person into taking that down? Or did you? Was there bullying involved? Or was it just that you just simply took it down?
Yeah.
That's just my train of thought on it. So.
I think 9 times out of 10, people aren't taking their own crap down.
I mean, I don't even know if something's gone until I go back and look at it.
I'm surprised they even notify you.
Well, they don't. They don't notify you anymore. That was even in their terms and conditions.
Yep.
Like, they don't have to notify you anymore.
Yeah, I think if you want, you can actually pull those up if you want real quick, because I know you had those. And the Micah, while he's doing that, have you had it with yours, or do you just feel like they're just blocking without anybody seeing?
Well, I mean, technically, on our page, we've had multiple.
We have on our page.
Have
you noticed? Okay, you noticed how I couldn't go live the other day? I think Daniel, you brought this up. This way, I actually got you and I talking. I think I'm on day number 4. I think I have 4 more days before I can go live. I didn't even know I was banned from going live, because when we did our episode on underground bunkers and secret societies, the Denver International Airport, the runways happen to look like swastika. Like,
it does.
It looks like a swastika. But because I posted a picture about that, they didn't even let me put the post up. Immediately said no one else can see this. I complained against them. I said that I felt it was, I wrote the little thing that says wrongfully whatever. I tried again. It said, if you try again, you will be put in Facebook jail. You won't be able to post for the 7 days or whatever it is. So I removed the picture just so I could put all the other stuff I put up for our episode up. And I still apparently got banned from going live. And I've also noticed this. I don't know if this is true or not. But Mike, have you noticed when you shared, it was you and somebody else the other day, shared something I posted on Facebook. I think it had to do with the papers. The one that said, like, the Jews had to carry around papers and then led to them being laid in graves.
I saw that.
The people that shared it, when I went to their page, it says they've shared something from Bob, but you can't see anything. So I think it has a blocker on Bob right now to where no one can share anything from Bob right now. I'm almost dead positive.
I might see if I can share something.
Because I think you'll see it like you posted it. Because I did the same and it looked like I posted it. But then when Christina looked at my page, it didn't have the post on there. So you wouldn't even know. Yeah. You would think that you've posted something, but that people are just, ignoring it basically.
Yeah. That's Katrina.
What's up, Katrina?
In the back.
Hi.
Thank you for your hard work. Is she a essential worker or?
Oh yeah, she's an essential. She's a vet tech.
I'm essential.
Yeah.
Thank you for the hard work, though.
That's Will and that's Micah. Used to play Xbox with these guys back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, you act like you're old.
I feel old.
You're only a quarter of a century old.
I'm 26.
Let me have my moment.
Yeah, and I'm still
I need my morning mimosa.
Oh my god. Yeah, we did. We did play God, those were the days. We didn't realize how easy it was. But my point being, Bob has had some stuff blocked. Now, to that point, I will give fact checkers a point here. Now I'm gonna give them one little cookie before I go talk about this.
Just one little brownie.
Harley posted something way back. I don't know if you remember back in the day, now you get me saying that. I don't know if you remember a couple months back. Oh, hang on, he might be we'll get So Micah, you remember the Virginia stuff that was going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Harley posted that, it did block hers. It had to do with the UN stuff, them being called in for possible like martial law. And now when they blocked that one, to their credit, they did put a link on the bottom saying why this was, banned or whatever. Which, listen, I'm all for, if you're going to back up, like if you block my thing or you take it down, at least show me why. And if you provide a link to show why what I posted is inaccurate, or, maybe I shared somebody else's thing and it was inaccurate, I'm totally fine with that. But the problem I have is when you block or take away something and you have no further links, which seems to be happening more and more anymore. It's just blocked. And I guess we agreed to the terms of service, so I mean it is what it is. But I mean, I didn't realize it. So you were saying that, I don't know if you looked it up, Daniel. You said that it now states in there. Oh, if it was that the one that you had, Mike, or no?
Sorry, I had myself on mute for a second.
Oh, no worries.
I'm listening though. I'm listening.
Oh, you're fine. I was just
going
to ask you when you get a chance, if you can actually read where it says that they can just remove your stuff without, I guess. So you're saying there's no push, like what is the verbiage they used on this?
I'm trying to find it.
No worries. Go ahead and find it for a second.
And
then Mike, I guess we never did finish up with you. Did you? That almost blew open on me. Did you? Have you had one blocked, or do you feel like they just have a blocker on your stuff like 24/7?
Well, I mean, it's probably 24/7. All the crap that I've posted. But no, I haven't come across anything that I personally posted that I got a notification like or anything like that on. But
Luscious locks, bro. For those that are just listening, not watching, Daniel's hair.
Daniel's hair. Okay, but sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Mike, at all.
Oh, you're right.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, make sure you keep that backwards, because if you flip it around the front, we're gonna be banned. No.
We're banned.
No.
Are you serious? Would you really be banned?
Oh, who knows? It'd be fun if try it out. Let's do it for like 5 minutes, and then
wore it backwards just because you can't see my face, you know.
We're gonna report it. No, you can totally flip it back around. It's okay. But we'll report this video ourselves to YouTube, and then somebody will have to watch the entire thing just to find out if at any point it mentioned "Make Great America Great Again." But anyways, yeah, Trump 2020. Listen, we might as well hit all the points. We might as well bring up Alex Jones at this point.
Every one of them, hit it like sandpaper. You know what I mean?
So, with that, what about him? Let's use him for example. Now we know, and he's come out multiple times, vehemently apologized for his comments about Sandy Hook. There's his last episode he did with Joe Rogan. I can't 1339 or 1336, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he went on. Then they went in depth on all of that. But what do you think about him? Like that was the reason he got basically canceled. And that's like everybody knows him for that thing right now. But they skipped the other like 90 to 95% of things that he actually showed to be true. I mean, he was hitting on this stuff that we all think is common knowledge now and talk about the government spying on us and doing to us. He was doing this back when Bush was first getting in the office, Junior. So, I mean, I just find it weird that this guy, one day, they flipped a switch, and I think Micah was telling me it was every single platform, every one of them, they overnight gone. All within, I think they said, 4 hours of each other. So, to me, that's where we're hitting that dangerous area of what is the freedom of speech. I guess it only applies to out here in the real world. I mean, you don't have freedom of speech online. That's just not an option at this point. Am I wrong on that, Micah? Do you feel that?
I mean, you should have freedom of speech.
Well, you agree to the terms of service, so suck it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So as a capitalist, as someone who believes in a free market, somebody who believes that the government should get the heck out of a lot of stuff, it's hard for me to say that Facebook shouldn't have the right to censor you. I don't believe that you can claim yourself to be a non-bias or whatever, and then you fact check things and you're telling people that, well, this is the actual truth and so on and so forth, and still maintain, any sort of integrity. Like, you kind of chuck it out the window when you start allowing your personal feelings to dictate what you do for your business.
Do you guys remember anything being said about I'm trying to look it up and I'm trying to find it right now, but they were talking about basically censoring the internet with what can be posted, what can be said, you know, in articles that you can find, you know. Obviously, we already know, or we should know, that Google has a very biased search engine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the algorithms.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. There was one thing I had seen a couple years back, and just recently I went to go try to find it again. I couldn't find the damn thing. And I remember it being like right on the top. You know, I understand things are going to change, you know, throughout time and stuff, but I couldn't find whatever it was I was looking for.
It's funny, too, that you mentioned that, because leading up to this episode, when we kind of found out the other night that we might be doing an episode on fact-checking, I was like, you know what, for the fun of it, there's got to be somebody who's fact-checking the fact-checkers, right? There's, like, nothing. I typed in, just for the fun of it, like, top 10 worst fact-checkers. Just, you know, because they're not going to be perfect. I get that. You're going to probably make mistakes. But if your sole purpose of existence and the name of your company or what you run on is fact-checking, we need you to be at least really close to being accurate at all times, right?
Yeah.
And when I typed it in, there was nothing. You know what kept repeatedly popping up over and over and over and over and over and over was top... Oh, sorry, this thing's kicking in over here. Top 20 worst things that Trump said all year. So that's all that would pop up, is the fact checks on Trump on things that he has said, and basically that was it in a nutshell. Nice sandwich.
It's good. I didn't know what it was going to taste like.
The only thing that they had dating back was in 2012. One guy that was part of Nick Romney's campaign when he was running in 2012, he wrote a thing on the fact checkers and how they blatantly said that if they're not sure, if they're on the fence on something, they'll mark it as incorrect because their name is on it. So if it turned out it was actually true, you know, or they said it was, and it turned out to be false, they would hurt their numbers. So when they're not sure, basically, when they're like, it could be either way, they're just putting it down as a negative. They're just saying, well, this is false. And they're very reluctant to print any, like a newspaper might print a retraction when it says joke. Nobody reads the retraction. But they basically, you know, just put it out there, and they're like, if we're not certain, then we're just going to mark it down as false. And I just don't think that's a fair way to run, you know, a fact-checking business. The one guy even said, too, he's like, they did not help themselves with all the ridiculous things they were fact-checking. Like, they fact-checked when Trump said that you were going to need I think it was a state ID or forms of ID to buy cereal. Did you guys hear about this one?
No, I haven't heard about that, but that sounds ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure the guy was joking, because I really think Trump's a jokester at heart. Even Joe Rogan said on this that, like, he misses calling to be a comedian. Because
he does it just to push buttons.
I'm telling you,
that's what I love about it.
I've watched, even with, like, you know, he's constantly making videos right now and going live and stuff with everything that's going on, and you'll see him, like, edge them on here and there. But, like, yeah, they fact check that one. Mike, what was the other one that you loved talking about? The fact checking cheeseburgers or the dogs?
Yeah, the hamburgers stacked a mile high. That's something you really have to fact check.
Yeah, guys, we looked it up. He was wrong. So
there was even a fact check on the joysticks on controllers.
What?
Yeah, there was even a fact check on that the rubber on that was made from a dog's nose.
Why?
He's like, are you serious? How can you be so stupid to believe that to begin with? Why? It doesn't make any sense.
And that's kind of what the guy said in the article, and it's from 2012. Maybe I can post it in the show notes here. But he basically said that what fact checkers have done, when they first started out, it was good, because they basically said, I can't remember the guy saying, Aristotle saying something about if it is what it is, it is what it is, and our truth be true, something like that. But basically what it's saying is that we're going to report what it is no matter what. So if it's false, it's false. If it's true, it's true. That's perfectly fine. I'm fine with that. But he said where they overstepped their bounds on all this is that they moved into taking away common sense. Like, is it a dog's nose? Were the cheeseburgers a mile high? Do you now need state ID to buy cereal? Those are the levels of, like, you're taking away common sense. And people are so reliant upon the fact checkers now, and fact checking being the only thing, that's where we're starting to have in my opinion, starting to have an issue. Because now if somebody sees that I posted something that says, we fact check this, you're wrong, nobody's probably going to take the time to research that fact checker to see who was it that actually looked it up for them. I actually did a little bit of research on them, just a tiny bit. So no expert on this. So if I misspeak on this, please let me know. Write us in, whatever. Give us a call. You can let us know at our email. But basically, there's a global unit of people. This global company that started out, they're now global with a bunch of entities being all these different fact checkers. In 2003, they've been around since 2003. What I think is funny about them is that they're global. They're supposed to be this nonpartisan, non-opinionated, one side or the other, just fact checkers. But that kind of leads into the whole, like we've discussed here and there, the whole one world order stuff, where it's like, if you have all these fact checkers that work for the same employer, so you're all employed by, so you might be, yes, if they're like, well, look at, man, 10 out of the 12 fact checkers say that it's wrong. But if they all have the same employer, like, are they really doing the research? Or, you know what I mean? To me, is that not a questionable, like, integrity situation? I mean,
yeah, it was kind of like that that TikTok I sent to you the other day. It was like all of the local news media saying,
oh my God, yes,
same exact thing.
Dude, that guy played, so he literally played a video of, I don't know, what are we talking, 20, 30 plus?
I would say there was probably at least 15 to 20 different channels.
Yeah, literally verbatim. He's playing them all together, and it's not the first time. There's so many videos of that crap going on. So it's like, it's not, I get it if your stories are somewhat similar, but you're straight up 100% copying, 100% reading a script. So who's writing that script, and why? What's the purpose? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel insulted when I see that. Don't you? I mean, a little bit. Your intelligence feel like just a little bit. I mean,
well, the same thing.
They fact check some stupid.
You go ahead, Daniel. We didn't hear you there. What'd you say?
No, remember that whole 20 channels or whatnot thing going? The same thing happened to Trump too. Every news outlet said the same exact thing with maybe a word or two difference. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Micah.
It's ridiculous how generic they are. I don't remember what I was gonna say, so let's move on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess my point is this whole episode I want to bring up is that, do I disagree with fact checkers 100%? No. Again, like, I don't know if you missed it or not, Dan, we brought up the point of when they first removed one of our first posts, that it was they put a link in the bottom. So, like, I read the Facebook thing, and the Facebook thing was explaining, I went in depth on it because I was pissed that they took some stuff off our page. I was like, there's freedom of the rights. But I went in depth on it, and they were saying how they have a third party that does all these checks and blah, 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 blah. But it says this third party makes the decision. Well, who is the third party? Again, it dates back to this company. I can't remember their name. It's like ACI or something, but they're a global fact-checking business. But they own all of the fact checkers. So to me, again, it still has to go with, let's, I guess, put on a tin hat. Might as well do it. It totally leads into the idea of, if you've got just one person that owns multiple companies, it might seem like you're getting multiple points of views and answers on this, but you have a bunch of people working in different places, but are all owned by the same guy with the same information that they're trying to disperse. I just cannot see how that's okay. And I told Micah this all the time. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, Daniel. I really feel like, have you ever gone to Facebook jail for anything you've ever posted?
I did a couple times, yeah.
Yeah? I don't understand how some people are posting stuff and not in Facebook jail, and I can get in trouble for, like, I mean, I don't get in trouble that much, I'm going to be honest, but if I posted something, for a fact, we have one friend in our friends list, Christine and I, she posts stuff, nudity, flat out nudity, all the time. And I've even told her, I was like, how are you doing this? I was like, if I posted a picture that had like a granny's cleavage shot in it, I'd be reporting her in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, she posts like blatant nudity, and she's never in jail. I don't understand. She's like, well, you just got haters on your page. I'm like, no, it's Facebook. Facebook would stop me. Like, it's not even, I wouldn't even get to post it. But I don't know. I think it's funny that certain people get away with it and others don't. And the whole idea of reporting people, being a tattletale, and putting them in jail, like I said, how long do we have before that's just online? And everybody says, well, online's not real life. It's just what it is. Well, why is it real life when you want it to be, when it really matters, and you're fired up about your opinion? It's real life, but then you post stupid crap. You're like, this Facebook, like, chill, bro. You know, so like, make up your mind. You know, that's
Real quick, I just looked it up. The third, or one of Facebook's third-party fact checkers is based in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yep,
Yeah.
Bangladesh.
Do you
That's
think
just one of them. I'm sure there's more, but
they do not give a crap about the amendment, about the Constitution at this point?
yeah.
No.
Well, both.
Yeah, that's just. I guess that's my thing. Is the whole cancel culture, calling people out, and then the supposed using fact checkers to back up your outrage and your being so pissed off and upset is where I have issues with it.
You know how you were saying this is just an idea. You know how you were saying that we don't get notified for them anymore, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're probably just going crazy right now. They just probably don't take the time anymore because they're just taking one post after another after another. They might have a quota to meet. I don't know. That's just
you know, it's not impossible, right?
But that's exaggerating, being a little bit ridiculous. But you get my point. They just go through so many to where they don't have time to say we took it off because it hurt somebody's feeling. You know.
I guess
that's my idea on it.
I do get that, and that could make sense, like you're saying, if there's only, you know, like two dudes working in a basement room, you know, and like they gotta keep up with, like, all right, you're responsible for the next 3,000 accounts. Yeah. You know, and I feel like that's where the whole report somebody if you see something wrong kind of kicked in too, because then they can kind of highlight when something is being posted. And again, like I've said, and I'll say it again, if you post something that's not accurate, clearly wrong, whatever, you know, like. If somebody, I've posted stuff that was wrong, I have, and when somebody showed me that was wrong or whatever happened, that's fine. I mean, I don't need to get banned and put in Facebook jail for making a mistake. And I just think it's getting people too comfortable with that idea of reporting people, completely relying on fact checkers. I don't know. The internet is becoming the new encyclopedia or world history, and obviously whoever, like Mike has always said, whoever wins the war writes the history, right? So do we even really...
like Wikipedia, they can go and change it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, so have you guys ever looked these videos up? Have you ever looked up the videos on talking about, like, the world being flat, supposedly, and stuff? Where,
oh my God.
Just hear me out. I know I'm going down a weird little path here, but they were showing how different encyclopedias from back in the day had stories or facts in them, and that all of those encyclopedias are like impossible to find. You can't buy them. They're collector's editions only. So there's like different information from like when people are doing what's the word I'm looking for? God dang it, I always mess this word up.
Yeah, we're going
Expedition.
You said it correctly. Oh, white power symbol right there.
That
banned again, guys.
That's it.
You know, we need that
to
become a thing.
I'm Mexican, by the way.
I'm gonna call that out right now. So clearly,
I got a funny story about that, by the way. After we get there.
Are you on TikTok, Daniel, or no?
No, I won't do it.
No, he's not gonna do it. He's an American and he actually has balls and he's a man. Okay, Mike, are you on TikTok? Well, no, let's back it up. You can be on TikTok and just observe. Because I'll be honest, you remember Vine back in the day, Daniel?
Oh, yeah.
Vine was so pretty freaking hilarious, right?
I miss Vine, honestly.
The reason I joined TikTok, why I was so apprehensive about joining TikTok for so long, was because it was like filled with a bunch of like middle school, like teenagers, right? And I was like, I don't want to be on here. But now it's like taken over by millennials and we're all making videos. But when I first got on there, right, there was a bunch of kids doing this crap. And they were doing like swirl, and I was like, "What is going on?" And you know what this meant for them? Like Daniel, if I was looking at you right now and I was like, "Daniel, does
that mean docking?"
Yeah, right.
That's right. That's what it was.
No. It doesn't. But I would assume it means that, right? I'd be like, I'm touching wieners, right? For those of you who can't see, I'm touching my 2 index fingers together. And for anybody who's like older than 20. knows that this is two wieners touching. But for these weird little next generation kids that are going up, this now means shy. I'm shy. And they would do this. And then they would like curl their feet in towards each other and just shy to ask. So a bunch of people called him out. All the millennials were like, dude, this mother trucking touching wieners. This is not shy. I don't know what but I think it's funny that all these symbols that we've done growing up, like playing the game, that's a punch game. If Micah does that symbol and it's below his waist, you get to punch him in the shoulder. I mean, he gets to punch you if you look at it. That's the rules. As long as he doesn't do something to make you look. That's not a white power symbol. And I seen that pop up. Maybe there was some like one crazy lunatic who was white power and was like, it's now the white power symbol. But like that does not ruin it for the millions of people who used it for punching each other in the shoulder.
What's annoying for that is that's a symbol for saying, hey, I'm okay underwater. Or
I'm okay, right?
In Tucson, it's pretty close, but that's Wildcat. You know, it's not close, but, you know, that's Wildcat. I don't know if you can see it. But yeah.
Too far. Sorry.
It's the University of Arizona. That's what that, you know, hand
it's too far.
thing,
No,
I don't know.
White supremacy. Don't testify.
Here's
Don't
the
stop.
other thing that I personally find the most intolerable a bad symbol. Regardless, if I meant to make this a white power symbol, if I was the most racist piece of garbage on the face of this earth, I still live in America. It's still my legal right to be that douchebag.
Now, isn't it weird that it is though, right? Like I definitely, it's so weird. Like I know that it's totally within the legal rules and like according to the letter of the law, but doesn't it feel weird to be like, yeah, you know what? Technically saying racist things is legal.
Like it's not weird.
I'm sorry, not racist. I'm sorry. Hate speech. Hate speech is not illegal. You are entitled to freedom of speech. So as long as you are not making the act of hurting somebody or inciting violence, you are free to speak your mind and say what you want. And I don't understand the people, like I specifically enjoy comedians. Guess what comedians are? Offensive people. They take messed up, twisted situations and they make us laugh. But then there's going to be that small group of people that are like, dude, you're going to see a comedian. I don't go to a comedian for good, wholesome, clean fun usually. Like, that's not
You're
what
going
they
to get
do.
your feelings hurt.
Generally, right? Like, once you pissed, if you're the one that gets called out in the front row, you're like, God dang it, he's going to get me. The point being, he's a comedian. He or she is doing their job. And for people to get fired up over the comedians that are like, well, they said this word, or they did this, or they made fun of fat people. Like, okay, I'm fat. Like, I'm a fat guy. But guess what? I also don't do, like, I'm okay with my body, but I don't do that whole, like, you need to be on my page, like, support man curves too. Like, I'm totally, like, I get the situation. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me. And again, these are just my thoughts.
Yeah.
But it's weird. There's this bandwagon thing of like, you have to be on my bandwagon, or like Mike and I've said before, you're 100% with me or you're 100% against me. And I just don't know when we hit that. Like that happened fast.
When you bring up like the bandwagon type thing, it kind of it really irks me a little bit. Just because you're a certain color, certain ethnicity, or whatever, certain belief, whatever, it's like you have to believe a certain way or have a certain mindset a certain way. You know what I mean? I got called out. I was at what was it, Pinnacle Peak, or not Pinnacle
You're at the what?
The
Pinnacle
Peak. Pinnacle Peak.
Listen, I heard about that place from truckers. You want to stay away from there, so.
Alright.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Daniel.
Anyways, it was like this tourist attraction, and I was wearing my MAGA hat, and I heard some people trying to speak Spanish a little bit. You know, they were having a conversation, and I thought I'd say something, you know, just for, you know, just to converse. And then once they saw my hat, they was all like, "Wait, are you Mexican?" I said, "Yeah." They go, "How can you even be Mexican and wear that hat?" And I go, "Because, you know, I support my president. I like what he's doing. You know, this is how I believe." You know, it's kind of like you get around with certain types of people, and you have to believe a certain way, or you can't have your own mind.
Wait, are you telling me you're Mexican right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what? We didn't.
You didn't
Did
know
we
that?
vet this guy, Micah? We
I
didn't
think
vet
he
this
said
guy.
that, like, right at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but no, that's a great point. Continue. I'm so sorry. Continue. I just couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I'm and my girl was just telling me she was even pointing out just because you're a certain sex, because there's only two.
Whoa.
You know.
Last I checked, I don't know what the numbers are now, but it's at least 67. 67 variances.
There's
So
67. Holy crap!
67.
It is a pretty significant.
I don't know the number. Micah, you Google the number. Well, you continue your story, Dan. So you converse with them in Spanish. They automatically assume because you're Mexican that you can't.
No.
She's asking, is there really 67?
He's gonna Google it. He's looking it up. So for those of you that can't see, Micah is Googling how many specific types of gender there now are. Some feel that
what the
they're
internet has put out there.
right, and that's where we're.
This many sexes, and you can get a shirt that says that you're willing to stand up for these people's rights, but yet that shirt only comes in 2 sizes for one male and the other female.
How long before they are attacked, though? We don't know. The time is coming. It could be the end for them.
So Tumblr has a list of 112 genders.
Oh my god!
God's
But you
sake.
see what I'm saying though? Like, just because you're one of the many sexes, you have to believe a certain way. You know what I mean?
I can't tell you how many times I got yelled at because I was a woman and I didn't stand up for women's rights. My outlook is you do what you do behind your door. I don't need to know about it, and I don't have to be in some kind of petition about it. You do you, I do me, we're good.
Yeah, and that's,
It's a
I mean, that's
good
the
way to
ultimate.
look at life.
Right. Thank you for that input, by the way. That was your wife or girlfriend, Katrina, or
Yeah, her name's Katrina.
Katrina. Perfect. He was like, I'm not identifying any one way or the other.
It's just
And she identifies as a female at this point in time.
Yeah.
Not one of the other 167 options out there. So,
111.
oh, 11.
William.
My bad.
Yeah.
But getting back to your story, so
Oh,
They don't want to hear me.
she's telling me that she wanted me to let you guys know that she could go on and on about the whole women's rights, feminist bullshit.
we'll have her sit down if she wants. Sure, if she's just doing nothing, she can sit down and talk too.
You can join in here if you want.
We're just sitting
Oh,
here.
they probably get tired of hearing me talk.
No, they invited you. This is an open platform. They invited you. If you want, I just need to figure.
I mean, we've already got a Mexican on here, so I mean, God's sake. I should take that back. You know what, Joe from the UFO Garage podcast, he's actually Mexican too, and it's pretty funny because he'll make Mexican jokes all the time, and Ben's like super uncomfortable about it, but it's pretty funny.
Is he really?
Yeah, no, Joe is. Yeah, Joe's
Oh my
Mexican.
god, I mean, is Ben actually uncomfortable about it?
Well, one time, because there was some evidence talking about the pyramids being built in Mexico, and so Joe was like, "Oh, proof the Mexicans did build that too." And Ben was like, and Joe was dying laughing, and Ben was like, "I'm not gonna laugh at that. Like, no, I'm uncomfortable with it." I was like, I mean, Joe made the joke, so. But no, so to your point then, Katrina. So, what did you mean? I guess if you could explain just a little bit more, what were the ladies' issues or the women's issues that you weren't standing up for, that you were being called out on? I guess.
Well, like, for example, the abortion situation.
Okay.
I don't understand why that got blown out. I mean, me personally, I would never do it. I had 3 miscarriages before we finally had my son, and I am absolutely in love with him. But even though I was attacked outside of a bar, and if it had gone far enough that I would have had a pregnancy from it, I still don't even think I could abort it, but that's just my own personal opinion. And I will not put someone else down for having that idea that they should be able to. That's their opinion. That's what we were made on. That's what America is everybody has their opinion and they are allowed to voice it. That is the whole point. My issue was, as the lady said, that I should have been on her side, saying that abortions need to either be banned or abortions need to be allowed. Honestly, I don't think it's anybody's opinion. If you really want to go technical, even though I'm a woman, I shouldn't be saying this, men should have a right to say whether that kid should be aborted or not, if that is his child.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't get the chance. It was two people to make that kid. You really think only one deserves a chance to say it just because it's being carried in that one body?
Yeah. I won't say specifically any names or anything to protect everybody involved with it, but years ago I had a buddy who had that exact same situation. They were involved in a job that took them out of state for a while, and from that, while they were gone, their girlfriend at the time went and had an abortion, and didn't have to get anything done or any paperwork signed or whatever. And he came back, left him and everything. But it was a little traumatic. I think I felt bad for him because it did mess with him, I think, a little bit, even though he didn't want to admit it, because like when they left, they were together and you knew they had a baby on the way. And like, to me, I was like, that's kind of messed up. And I could see in certain situations, maybe if somebody, unfortunately, something bad happens to them somewhere and then they don't know who the father, they can't get consent that way, then yes, then they have the freedom to do what they want on their own. But you are right on that. It's so funny how like neither males nor females seem to have a choice actually on their body in that situation. It's a weird, like, I don't know what my feelings are.
Right?
Micah, what's your take on that?
We did an abortion episode.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Okay, well,
we didn't do a full episode, but we hit on it for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll cover the basics. So personally, I do believe if I'm being non-biased and being truthful, I do believe abortion is a constitutionally protected right. However, I do believe that the child that you are killing is also a human, which has its own rights. So I think there's a gray line that you kind of have to figure out there. Abortion, to an extent, I guess I'm okay with. If I'm not really okay with it, if that makes sense, but it's something that it's going to be there. It's kind of like alcohol when they try to take it away. Like, people insane with it. So like, to an extent, it's something that I can say is you can turn a blind eye to it. When they start saying 9 months along, we're going to rip this baby out of this person because she doesn't want to have it, that's murder. Like, I don't care.
I agree with that part.
It's murder. And then
what they did in New York.
So you guys did talk about all that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I was there for that because I would have ripped into it with you.
They were talking about how, like, you could have like a post-birth
conversation. There's a conversation.
Let your child die. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's.
But that leads into some really dark stuff. That leads into like people selling babies. They were talking about how much money they could get for a whole living baby. They can sell them on the black market. And when we're saying the black market, these are people who got real money to get these babies or studies done on these babies. So it goes down a dark path. And people talk about it all the time. They're like, there's no way that's happening. And as much as we might be talking about racial stuff and whatever going on, it is a fact that proportionally different for women of color, any woman of color that's not white, that it's a single mom, to have their baby not make it in the pregnancy at birth, or to have had complications afterwards. If you look up the actual statistic, Micah, it's crazy. So people might say that no, people aren't doing this, but we had a doctor right here in Michigan, like not even 8-10 years ago, that was doing that for years. He was flat out telling the moms that their baby died after birth and then selling them.
Yep.
Like, that is, I mean, he got caught and prosecuted and everything, but the point being is, like, that is a sick, dark path that people go down.
It's even worse right now. Like, I don't know if you've seen it in the news within the last week or something with the coronavirus going on. Mothers are getting desperate and they're selling their children to pedophiles to pay for things. Yeah.
What?
They're taking their kids to these pedophile houses and letting the pedophiles rape them so that they can have money to sustain themselves right now in the pandemic.
Yep.
What?
Do you remember what article that was you saw though?
I don't. I just remember seeing it.
That's insane. I mean, sick. I mean, I just, okay, we've all had, this is not a great time for anybody, right? We've all had hard times, but at the same time, there is still some money coming in, and even for the bills that are trying to demand that you have to pay, almost everyone that I've called, like I got laid off back when everything happened, just like everybody else. When I called them and we moved around on some of our dates and stuff, they all pretty much have programs in place right now that extend things for 3 months. So it's not like you don't have to pay all your bills. Maybe there's a couple that aren't working with you, but I just can't see how your child is that insignificant to you that you're willing to do something that grotesque. Like, that's just, I don't know.
It's just,
but we live in a messed up world.
Oh yeah. But to kind of top off what I was saying about the whole women's rights thing is part of why I was also, I guess, in a way, cast out of the gender thing, was because I don't feel that women are oppressed. I feel that men are oppressed. Women are in charge of pretty much everything. They're in charge of when men get sex. They're in charge of when they see their child. They're in charge of pretty much everything. But yet women are claiming that they are being oppressed and they're not able to do anything.
Well, we probably should be clear, consensual. Like, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That can go two ways too. That is actually an issue. So
it's also because we haven't had a woman president yet. So once there's a woman president, there is literally nothing that women haven't had role in.
It's funny that you bring that up though, because tonight we've been talking about cancel culture, calling people out, and then these fact checkers. So when people look this stuff up, I think also two people have, even for us 4 people here, we have a very limited amount of interactions that we've had, and those have shaped us in our life, however, right? All the different interactions we've had. So it's interesting how those shape your points of view on everything. Like, I have one aunt who proportionally did the same job as everybody else, had a great job, but she was proportionally paid less over her lifetime than all those guys. Mm-hmm. So is that an issue sometimes? For sure. But that is a hard, touchy subject, because they've gotten all kinds. Oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I was just going to add that it's possible she got paid less, not because she's a woman, but because, and I'm not saying that she performed poorly or anything like that. I'm just saying maybe her male counterparts outperformed her, or were willing to, well, I know your aunt didn't have kids, so that wasn't an issue, but
I think her thing was,
there could be other reasons for that. I'm not going to automatically chalk it up to she's a woman. Also, real quick, I got those, the mortality rates that you were talking about. So non-Hispanic blacks have an 11.4 out of 1,000 that don't make it. Then American Indian is 9.4. Hawaiian is 7.4, and then white people are at 5.
Even though we're a massive portion of the population.
What were those numbers for again? I spaced out.
For infancy mortality.
Oh, okay.
So like the ones that didn't make it.
Yeah, that die within the first day.
Or supposedly died.
Okay.
Yeah. 11.4. I mean, that's more than double what.
That's a bad statistic.
Yeah, that's not.
Especially when you're making up less than 15% of the population, more than likely. Or wait, no. It said
it is per capita. It's per 1,000. So it's not.
Wow.
There's
So
a lot of
that's
factors that can go into that, though.
True.
There's...
True, but it is a weird little statistic. It's like,
It really is.
Yeah, that makes sense,
but
yeah.
Going back to ladies being improportionately paid, that is the only one where they said that, this goes way back to where they said that, like, going into like our genetics of caveman days, that men were more aggressive than women usually, so that we were more likely to demand or ask for a raise. Whereas they said, this is not me trying to make a sexist comment at all or anything. This is just how we were for hundreds and hundreds of years. Men usually did a lot of the work, and the ladies took care of the family and did work too, but took care of the family. So they said that sometimes they feel that genetically women fell into more of a follower role, which that's going to trigger some people. I'm not trying to fight here with anybody, but they said that they think that rolled over into the job, where women would perform really hard, because being a mother is freaking hard. It's one of the hardest things anybody will ever do. Like, it is, if you're a mom and you work and you're a mom, period, it's a hard job, and I commend anybody who does it. I've watched my wife with 3 kids, and it's insane. So, but what they said is that they have a way of conditioning themselves to put themselves through hard things, and tend to just basically put their head down and work hard versus demanding something. There's no easy answer to this. Jordan Peterson, a great psychologist from Canada, I think he's from, had a great speech on this, talking about the inequality there. He said the only thing he could think of is that maybe women get like 2 reviews every year versus men getting 1. But then you're getting into equality of, well, she's just going to get a review because she's a female versus me being a man and I'm only getting 1. So it's I don't know. But when you break out the numbers, women are not underperforming. There are more female CEOs over the last decade and leading up into millionaires and stuff than men. So women are not losing. Women are winning right now as well. So I absolutely agree with you, Katrina. I don't think... I'm certainly not going to raise my daughter is the idea that she's behind the ball and that she's a loser and that men are going to win no matter what, you know.
Oh, trust me, if I ever have a little girl, she's going to have my mindset. Like, I can't stand women. Women and I don't get along. In my opinion, they're just two-faced and backstabbing, and like they'll even turn around and date your man just because. And I also don't like the women, and I actually have some in my family, that use the kid that they have against the father just because, out of spite. The guy could be moving on, or he could be finally getting,
happy.
Yeah, he could finally be happy or something. But they try and take him to court for more child support. They try to do all these other things that I just don't feel is right.
Yeah.
You're just destroying the kid in the long run, in my opinion. If you can't work together to co-parent this child, then I don't know what else should happen aside from either y'all should both lose the kid because you can't cooperate, or someone's got to get full rights because you can't keep using the kid against each other like that.
Yeah, people use that, or they use like in going back to what you said with women control when men have sex. When you use sex or children as weapons against each other, I think you've crossed a line, and it's not healthy for anybody involved.
I agree.
Yeah, it's I think too. My wife and I have talked about that. We've said like it's not our plan, obviously, but like we were like, look, if we ever get in, she came from a family, you know, her mom and dad years ago got divorced when she was like 2, but she came from kind of that situation of being in a broken family, I guess you could say, as it were. And we said if we ever split, something happens, that is the last, you know. And I know it's easy to say when things are good and everything else, but we have made that pledge of like they come first on this. Like we're still their parents, so no matter what, that should be at the forefront of whatever happens. I know it's easy to say when nothing's happening, there's no hurt feelings or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's not the whatever ends up happening between you and who you're with. It has nothing to do with those kids, and you should be a parent first and foremost at that point. Versus if the relationship's over, all you can be then is a parent. So I don't understand that either, and we've all seen it, and yet somehow, if a man, and this is absolutely wrong, so do not, if anybody somehow thinks I'm justifying this, it's not. No abuse either way is right? But the minute we hear about a man beating a woman or doing anything, we all want to bash his teeth in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But we know, in proportionally, it's true that more men are in domestically abused relationships than females. They're just not reported. And if they try to report it, it's almost laughed off. You need to man up. You need to be, which we all get, but... I mean, that's an inequality that there are inequalities on both sides. Like that's the thing is that, it's not fair across the board. Either way we cut it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Katrina, go ahead.
You gotta raise your hand.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure I did.
We are not in school. You do not have to. Just buzz.
Also, real quick, do you want to have like a seat or something? Because
I was about to ask you
I feel
that.
like over is going to get real uncomfortable.
I'm good. This is
should.
actually easy on my hips. I have back problems since labor, so.
Nice.
But one of the things I did kind of want to touch on for that one is that I firmly believe, and this is the way I will raise my children, is I firmly believe that if you raise a hand to anybody, you should expect to get hit back. I don't care what race or what sex. It doesn't matter.
If you're ballsy enough to do it to one person, you better be ballsy enough to receive it.
Like I had one guy that swung his fist right past my face into the wall, and I told him if he does it again, I'm going to put him through the wall. Because I've been through abusive relationships. I've been hit before, and I've hit him back, and they told me that I hit as hard as a guy does. But then again, you know, I come from a redneck family. My mom took out several guys too, so I mean, I guess it just comes natural. But I have never raised a hand at a guy that I didn't expect to get hit back. And most of the time when that did happen is because I was being forced to stay, and I have really bad PTSD from when that guy attacked me outside of the bar. So anytime someone tries to grab me and force me to stay somewhere, I like flip out. I'm back in that same situation with that guy, and I'm swinging at whatever I can hit. I don't care who or what it is. The only other time that I did swing that I was fully aware of what I was hitting was a guy that hit me first.
Yeah.
And she got called crazy.
Yeah. I got called crazy because I will go toe-to-toe with a guy. I don't care.
I mean, it's far better than letting some dude beat on you and pretending like you ran into a freaking doorknob. Like, come on. Nobody believes that.
That happens. Okay, I won't say names. Yeah, it was a bad part of my life there, but yeah.
Yeah, exes are great.
Yeah.
But it's funny you mentioned that because we talk about, maybe ladies mention how there's inequality on just performance at jobs, which, right, wrong, or otherwise, there's a quota that they've all got to meet. So like any job they're in, pretty much any business has a quota of like, hey, you've got to hire this many XYZ, this many Caucasians, this many African Americans, this many of this sex or that sex. So you have issues that way, but I do think it's funny, specifically with the abuse part of things, without giving any details on names or anything. There was a couple of the same exact situation of getting in an argument, but she had been beating on him, and he was in the military, and she started beating him again one night, and he was finally done with it. So he wrapped her up, gave her a bear hug, and laid on the ground with her and told her she needed to calm down, right? Like, I'm not going to let you go into calm down. So she agreed to calm down. And she had scratched him and everything prior to this happening. And the minute he got up, or finally let her up, she went and called 911 and said that she had been attacked. So when the cops showed up, he had scratch marks and everything. And she told him he was beating her, and that's why she scratched him. And so he went to jail. I think he actually got it marked down to where it was an honorable discharge, but originally it was going to be a dishonorable discharge and everything. So it's funny that in those situations, I don't know if it's 9 times 10, but it used to be 9 times out of 10. If a woman says a man's beating her, his story is almost irrelevant.
Oh, yeah.
It still is today.
Listen, I'm not a female, so I don't know. So I don't know in the workforce, depending on what you do for a living, do guys in proportionally hit on women over men? Yeah, I'm going to say 100%. But there are definitely women who hit on guys, and what does he do in that situation? They're supposedly, now I don't think this happens that often, but supposedly there's guys who are saying that, like, if they had a boss that was a female, that she was hitting on him, to be like, you're either going to do this or I'm going to get you fired, basically. So, but I have to say, I think that happens to females far more than males in those situations, personally. Again, I don't know if there's statistics to back that up, but...
Well, that kind of goes back to the other thing I was saying about women not being oppressed. Let's take a look at how many men's lives have been destroyed because a woman claimed that he raped her just because, out of spite.
Cosby!
I'm
just kidding, I'm kidding.
I firmly feel that there should be a penalty for women that have lied and destroyed men's lives over stuff like that. That's not something you play with. That's not something at all like that. And I also believe that there should be a time limit on when you can report it. I don't think it should be over 5 or 7 years after the fact. Like for me, it was over 9 years ago that I was attacked, and I don't feel that I have a right to try and report it anymore. I should have reported it when it happened. So I'm not going to just go and randomly file a report saying this guy harassed me or even tried to attack me if I didn't report it then. It obviously wasn't important then, so why not? Now, I understand there are women out there that are afraid to speak up, and I totally understand that. But at the point that you hold that down for over 10 to 20 years, why are you going to bring it up? Or even if you make a pass at a guy and he says, no, I'm good, you go and tell somebody, oh, hey, he raped me, so you can ruin his life just because you got rejected. Or, you're trying to get higher up in a job, so you try to sleep with your boss, and he says no, so you try to get him fired by the boss above him just because. It's stuff like that, and women are good at it, and women get away with it. That's the thing that upsets me. I don't think that should be allowed, and I think there should be a penalty for it.
hopefully with the stuff that's going on with, I can't remember her name, but Johnny Depp's girlfriend, if that all goes through with her now finding out she falsified all those claims and the beatings and all that, but she was actually doing it to him, if she gets prosecuted and actually gets prison time, I think that's going to open a lot of doors for men that way. So where there should be that, you know, at least for, like you're saying, the false claims. The false claims are the worst, because you will, if you get put on this sex offender list or you've done anything like that, that doesn't just leave your record. You cannot get that just scrubbed back off. You know what I mean? So that is a major issue.
Unless you're Joe Biden.
He is creepy. He's so creepy.
You also like monetary problems too, right? I mean, it's not cheap to defend yourself in court. No. And this person just accuses you of something, and now you really don't have a choice but to defend yourself. It's going to cost you probably tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, to defend yourself. Like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. You know, there should at least, a minimum, there should be a requirement that she's responsible for those court fees if it's found that he is completely not guilty. Like, come on. Like, that's just, it's like so
on
messed
a reasonable
up.
side, 3 years maybe?
Oh, not even. Think about the guy, the football player that was supposed to go pro, and his girlfriend put him in jail because, remember how long he spent in jail? I think she ought to serve that same sentence, along with all the money that he had to put to try and protect himself.
Yeah, if she lied, if the claims have been falsified, for sure. That I think
she came out and said that she was lying. That's the only reason he got out.
She got called. What's the word I'm looking for? But she came basically tattletale on herself.
Yeah, she admitted to it. She was, I think she was trying to confide in somebody and was laughing about where he was this many years down the road, and she openly admitted that, I lied. I just got him put in jail for no reason.
See, now...
And I feel like she should have to suffer as long as he did. He had a life. He had a career set ahead of him, and she ruined every chance of that. I feel like she should have to serve the same sentence, if not more.
I feel like, too, for the people that do that, no matter what you're lying about, I don't like lying, period, right? Like, I'm really into, like, aliens and UFOs and stuff, so the people who try to falsify claims or things or sightings, I'm not into that either, because you know why? You hurt the overall cause. So are there people legitimately being abused, raped, or sexually assaulted in either side of the spectrum? Absolutely. But when these false claims continue to come forward, that's what hurts the cause. Did we see a massive pop of old white guys who had sexually crossed the line with some women back in the day because they were all from the 60s and 70s and 80s? Absolutely. And did that happen? I probably believe the majority of it did. But that doesn't mean that our generation is doing that. But we're being held to those same standards at this point in time. And I think that's what's tricky about it, is that at any point in time, a woman doesn't even have to say we did anything more. Now it's just I felt threatened. He threatened me. He made me feel threatened. You
know what's really funny about all of it? Funny how quick women forget about equality when it comes back on them.
Well,
most people are.
You're only one of 111 opinions in the gender, so no, for sure.
Women sit there and they squeal equality, equality, equality. Well, if you get found guilty of lying to a court under oath, then you should be punished just as bad as the guy was for something he didn't do. Funny how then, you can't do this to me, I'm a woman, I have family, I can't be in jail that long, blah, blah, blah. Well, what if this man had a family and he was in jail that long, he was that long away from his kids? What's so different about you if you want equality?
Food for thought.
Definitely. No, I agree. I appreciate your input on it. Like I said, and you know what's funny about it too is that we as men usually cannot have this conversation. Women can usually openly have the conversation about how their body is oppressed by men, and men are making decisions for their body, and then there might be grounds that they have to stand on for sure on that. But it's funny how a man cannot sit there and point the other side of the fence, as it were, and maybe bring up some even facts, or even feel uncomfortable about it. That's what's funny about that, is if us three guys feel like that we even have to be careful how we're going to word saying something, it's just bringing up equality, then maybe that says there is a problem right there. So I think
have that problem doing that with women. So I don't think it's just a sexist thing. I think it's honestly down to somebody doesn't appreciate your opinion, and that's just the end of it. I think they just holler sexist, and gender and racist and all that stuff, just because that's the quickest thing to jump to, instead of either one, accepting someone else's opinion, or two, just accepting the fact that they're right or wrong either way.
Yeah, most people can't admit when they're wrong. Like, I don't know what it is about people, but it's just like, it's bred into you that you, like, doesn't matter. Like, someone has to, like, they have to, like, scientifically prove to you in front of a panel of judges that you're wrong for you to admit it.
Yeah.
Except for certain key words, like she said, you start throwing around the word rape, and man, you don't need a whole lot of grounds to go on, so that part's funny. So you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but you don't mind me asking then, do you vote, and if you do vote, if you receive flack that way for your political points of views of being a female? I mean, your friends or your boyfriend wears a MAGA hat, and you're a girlfriend to him, so is that been an issue if people brought that to your attention?
Honestly, I haven't voted. I probably should, but let's just say I'm avoiding,
the whole topic.
But I do support Trump. I don't like him as a person, but as a president, I feel that he is doing the country good. I don't care what he does in his downtime. That's completely up to him. I didn't care about Clinton screwing around on his wife back then either. So, I mean, all I care about is what you're showing me for America. If you're showing me that you're doing something good, then I'm good with it. I mean, someone's personal life should not affect what they do in their job. And I'm sorry, but being a president is a job.
Yeah.
And like I said, I support Trump. I pick on him all the time about wearing his hat because he says he wears it to get conversation. I say he wears it just to watch people get pissed off.
No.
I mean, that's just my opinion. So.
Micah drove around for a while in his truck, and on the front of his truck, up in the window, he had his Make America Great hat in there, just to see, because he said the same thing. He said he wants to start conversation. I mean, I should let him speak for himself. You can
I didn't say the same thing there. I don't wear the hat to start conversation. I wear a hat. I'll wear a hat, and I have a front plate on my truck that's a Trump. Originally, I did think going into like Walmart that I was going to have confrontation with somebody. I really did. I was pleasantly surprised. I have not had a single bad encounter while wearing anything Trump.
Oh man, I get flack all the time.
Well, I think that's also just because of your race.
Because I'm Mexican too.
Yeah, and you're near the border, maybe.
Yeah,
so
that might be the area.
And you might live in a much larger city than I've lived in. The largest city that I've significantly lived in was Adrian, which is like 20,000 people, 25,000 people.
Oh yeah.
So.
Wow.
Well, the other reason that they probably don't mess with him is the fact that he can't grow a beard and he doesn't weigh more than 98 pounds.
I'm 145 now. Thank you very much.
that quarantine weight kicking in.
I haven't checked my weight since quarantine. I'm scared. It's gonna be way worse than it was.
Oh my goodness! No, this is funny. Is that people want to get into closing some of this subject out? I guess here is that if you want to get into equality, and you're going to be a social justice warrior, that's got to be even across the board. And to quote, what was her name? She was a comedian. Oh my goodness, I should know her name. Super famous. She was like one of the original African American comedians to like. Nobody's going to know it from that. But anyways, she basically said, I should know, it's going to hit me as soon as we end this. And I'm going to be like, dang it. Anyways, she basically said that, look, we're all different. And people try to say we're not different, but we are. And it's okay. We're all different, but we got to remember we're all equal at the end of the day. So we all have our differences, but that should not matter. And what you do in your home is what you're doing. If you are not physically harming your children and your family and those around you, in that manner, what you do in your home should be your own business. And that's my opinion on it. I really, truly believe that. I really don't care whatever kinks you have in your household and whatever you do, as long as you are not causing harm to people. And if you have your own
swings from your ceiling.
if you have your own business,
I
you know,
don't
like
think
we
my
were.
ceiling will put up with that kind of.
I'm so used
Pressure.
to kinks, and that's where my brain went. So
Oh my god.
I'm being
But-
objectified. I'm being objectified.
But going back to like people owning a business, you know, like obviously I was like the first one in 4 generations not to serve in the military on my dad's side. So I have a lot of ties to people that are in the military, you know, have a lot of friends that are in the military. And I know that Starbucks does not support the military. Their CEOs openly said this. They don't put any of their money towards the military, none of that. But you know, my wife really loves Starbucks. We get Starbucks, but I know that going in, so I have that option again. Like we were talking about Chick-fil-A in the beginning and not supporting gay people. Again, why can't we just let people run their business the way they want to? Why do we have to make this, first of all, our issue and then everybody else's issue, and then treat people? We constantly have these, just like the gun argument that Mike has brought up before. Such a disingenuous manner in which it takes place, which is you support guns. Oh, so you support school shootings. Or you don't support guns, so you just want to take away all my rights. That's not the right way to have the conversation. There shouldn't be 2 ultimatums. There needs to be a lot more in that conversation. And just like the abortion topic and all that stuff, there's a little bit more to it. It's not extremely complicated, but there's not just a 1-2 kind of answer. In my opinion, that's how I view it. I think there's a little more to all of it.
well, in my opinion, I go back to the same thing before. You do you, I do me. I mean, it's like, for example, with the religious topics. Like, I don't go around telling people they need to believe in this or they need to believe in that. I just tell them that this is what I believe. And, you know, for example, if I come up to you during the holidays and I tell you Merry Christmas, well, if you celebrate Hanukkah, I want to hear Happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, I want to hear Happy Kwanzaa. I don't care that we have a difference in holiday. I just want to hear that you're supporting yourself and what you believe with your traditions.
Don't get offended just because I'm expressing myself.
Exactly. And one of the other things that really bugs me is people will not do their own research and figure things out. Like, for example, they'll blame Trump for everything going wrong right now, but it takes 2 to 4 years for anything that a president really does to come into effect. I mean, that's part of why Bush got so much backlash, is because he was suffering from what happened before, and, you know, things like that. So, I mean, we're seeing a lot of what Obama did that wasn't that great. Funny how everybody supported it when he got rid of the Obamacare stuff. You know? I mean, Obamacare wasn't even cheap for me to get. It was supposed to be cheap for people like me. And
If you even
I was
qualified.
getting fined for it. Yeah,
If you qualify.
exactly. And then I was being fined because I didn't have it.
It's cheaper to get the fund than it was to pay for it.
Exactly. But people don't do research and figure things out. They get butthurt from
He's
something.
raising his hand.
I was looking down.
It wasn't a fine, it was a tax.
I got fined.
The fine would have been illegal.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you paid it back. I think it was
I'm
intact.
pretty
I had to
sure
pay
it
like
was-
2 months one time.
Yeah, mine was, I
Oh.
think, $214 for it.
Oh, jeez, you got it cheap. We had to pay for my wife 2 years in a row, $695 each year.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah.
What was she doing?
I was taxed just about $300.
So,
Dang.
yeah, I think it's based on what
Fudge.
you make. But,
Let's call tax. Let's use the right word. Theft, and then
There you
we'll
go.
continue on.
There you go.
Another topic that is along the same lines of the whole research thing is look at how much of our history is being destroyed just because people are getting butthurt. I know
That's what we were
history.
talking about, censorship and things.
Yes, history to me is very important. If you don't learn it and you don't know it, you are doomed to repeat it. So if you're going to take it out of the books and not teach children of today what happened and what's going to happen 100 years from now, then it's going to get lost and it's going to happen again. You're going to go through the same problems. And let's face it, what happened in history was not fun. It was very upsetting, and I had a lot of family that were German. My family went through that. I have family on my dad's side that was Indian. They went through the issues with, you know, I mean, I literally have it on both sides. But you don't see me sitting there saying, tear down the Andrew Jackson statues or, you know, anything like that, because I know my history and I know that it served a purpose.
I don't think people realize too when that stuff's getting messed up. You know, they look at specifically, you know, with slavery and the Civil War era time of history, where a lot of stuff's being the relics and stuff that have been called into question lately. But they have completely rewritten. This happened, I think, it was last year. There was the textbooks that they were giving out to the kindergarten or first grade and second grade. They was talking about, Christopher Columbus coming over from, to the New World and everything. And in their description, of how they met the American Indians, it said that the American Indians and Christopher Columbus and them all came to an agreement that there was more than enough land for everybody, so the American Indians peacefully moved back so that we could have more room to grow.
Yeah, no.
Well, French toast, it hit. Like, that is not how that went down. We gave them blankets full of smallpox, and it killed them, and we went to war with people, and it was not a good thing. Like, it was... But it sucks. But that should be like you absolutely hit on the point of we want to preserve people or save their feelings. I understand to a degree, but man, that's messed up. But again, like Mike is always saying, those that win the war write the history. Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
Along the Columbus thing, though, I mean, wasn't Cortez the one that was pretty much raping and doing all the bad shit, while Columbus was really there to explore?
Oh, you done in South America?
Yeah. I mean, he was in the wrong part, but yeah, I mean, they have that twisted?
Yeah, they thought they found China. They're like, this is China. So that
that's imitating
I don't know. They didn't know what they sounded like. I don't know. Listen,
I don't know. It's just
came from China.
my outlook of it is it's like for example, the rebel flag. Let's take that into.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Situation.
Let's do it.
Like I
Talking
said,
about the
my
rebels.
family coming here, okay? I actually found out, like way down the road, that I am actually kind of related to Grant. So, yeah, that was fun to
super
ancestry
impressive,
level.
actually.
But
Carrie
my
Lee
opinions-
Grant or the? I'm just kidding. I know who we're talking about.
Can't be doing a podcast if you don't
Well, for
know.
people that don't know, which Grant are we talking about? Because maybe they don't know.
And he's asking for a
If they
friend.
really don't know, they need to open a history
The
book.
Ulysses Grant.
He was one of our presidents, I think. He
Yes, he was a president. He was also a general in the Civil War, very prominent general.
Oh yeah.
You should probably know some of your history.
Is he on money?
Probably just a little bit, Like,
Hey, we might have some listeners. Listen, we're like a UFO
No.
show. People may not know. That's cool. It sounds bad, but going back that many generations, people might not know. We don't know much about our own grandparents sometimes. So getting back to that history that's been tainted and
I don't
twisted.
know mine.
I'm just saying, people forget their history. So again, sorry, you have relation to Grant.
Yes. So I mean, I have a way kind of back there, I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm right or that I'm wrong just because I have that relation. What I'm saying is that I had family involved in that situation, no different than I'm sure many others did. I'm sure there's several out there that were related to Lee, which a lot of people probably don't realize is that Ulysses S. Grant and Lee were actually really good friends before the war broke out.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean-
again, people don't pay attention to their history. Just
Yeah.
like they forget how many African Americans died defending the rebel flag for freedom, and they just automatically say that that's slavery. I'm like, do you not know your history? Do not sit there and accuse something of being racist until you know what blood was shed for that history.
See, but if you look up the fact checkers, like let's have somebody check that right now. Mike, you want to check on Snopes and see if African Americans died to defend the rebel flag, just for the fun of it, because that's kind of what we were talking about in the episode. It's funny that when you bring some of these things out that might be facts. So here's what somebody will do, right? If somebody who doesn't have a textbook to go to, or anybody who's like roughly our age, they're going to use the internet, and when they do that, that's what seems to happen is that we end up in these situations where it's fact checkers only that are giving us the information. He's just abandoning you. He's like, peace. But it is interesting because, like I said, what you're saying is not wrong. I can't remember the exact number of specific number of African Americans that passed away fighting in the Civil War on the side of the South, and then there are mixed reviews on that. Are there certain people who did fight because they were forced to? Perhaps. But let's weigh it out. Did they really? Because what was their options? Either maybe they were told, hey, you either fire your gun or we're going to shoot you. You know, that's where it gets trickier. They say, well, they were all forced. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. We don't know. But I do know that there were a majority of them that were also fighting to preserve their way of life, because there was a weird kind of, they seen the future coming. Once the cotton gin was invented, that the production of that versus actual physical slaves in a field picking cotton was not even close. So, Micah, were you able to find anything?
I can't find anything for Snopes or any type of fact checker. There's just like Wikipedia, like History Channel, that kind of stuff.
Well, of course, because I'm sure Google got rid of all of them.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that earlier too. You know, just very briefly with how biased the Google search engine is.
Yeah, it definitely has some algorithms out there that it's not a fan of. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh man. Well, is there anything that you guys want to add real quick before we let you guys go? Any closing thoughts you want to maybe put out to people or say for yourself?
I got so much material pulled up. I don't want to go yet.
You don't want to?
Like, you should see how many tabs he's got open. This is more than a
Well, go ahead. Share one.
Share one? Okay. All right.
Go ahead. Something you want to share with us.
Go to. That was the Tucson one. I think it's that one.
We were talking, to be clear, Daniel and I were talking off and on from like 3-4 o'clock today on, and he did have a lot of information he was sharing. He's like, I gotta stop. I gotta save this for when we actually on the show.
You have so many tabs open, you can't even find what you're looking for.
He's like, I got
It's right here. It's right here.
every tab in the internet open right now.
Dude, everyone.
No, like, seriously,
All right.
This is more than a woman keeps open in her mind. The difference is we can navigate better than he can.
Hey, the boxes aren't touching. Okay, it was about the Jonathan Sparks.
Jonathan Sparks. Okay, so what
Remember
give us a
me
little
telling
background
you
on that.
Okay, so Jonathan
Oh yeah,
Sparks,
you did share that story with me. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was, you know, during the election time for Trump, he was downtown Tucson, you know, trying to support his president, and he was getting a lot of flack by it. Well, a individual by the name of Daniel Zoros, I think is what his name was, a former Raul Grijalva, and I think he was an employee to him, or you know, he worked for him. This guy assaulted Jonathan, and in this assault, he broke his ankle. He caused trauma. This guy was out of work, you know, and this guy did nothing to provoke it other than wearing a red hat.
It wasn't just a red hat, it was the red hat.
The red hat. But it just got to that. It was a hate crime, you know. It was a hate crime that I don't
Can
know.
hate crime happen on a Caucasian male?
Yes.
I mean, I'm asking. I'm just open conversation here. I'm just wondering.
I'm
What?
Mexican, and I know that. Come on.
I mean, but what chain of events have to go down? And I'm being real about this for hate
Ignorance
crime to take
one.
place.
Ignorance. There's people on how naive people can be with things.
It's still ignorance.
Well, I mean, listen. I agree with you. I think that what he did, because if I read the article correct, even when he assaulted him, he yelled out something along the lines of like calling him Hitler or a Nazi.
Yeah, racial slurs, basically.
Yeah. But now let's flip the script. Let's say that guy had been wearing a Barack Obama hat in 2008.
Oh yeah,
And-
they talked about it too in the article.
Okay, as I say, and a white guy did that and yelled out racial slurs. We would probably still be talking about that. I mean, I'm not. Listen, violence either way, I don't care your color. Violence that any human being, as we've talked about already, is wrong. And to physically assault people over their political point of view is like, I mean, is it worth? I mean, and no, I can't think of a universe in where it's worth it until they are trying to physically take away your rights and enforce it. Yeah. Then perhaps violence is required to maintain freedom. And I think people forget that as much as it sucks, there might come a day when that happens, you know?
Sad with this Sparks guy too is the case hasn't been settled yet. And it's been going on since 2016, I think. Since, you know, the beginning of Trump's election.
So there's been no ruling one way or the other on whether he was.
As far as I know, at the moment, that there hasn't been a ruling just yet.
That's crazy.
Last I heard about it was later last year. Sparks came on the radio talking about the case and whatnot, and still said that Zimmerman, or what was his name? Not Zimmerman.
Zorit or
Daniel Zarro, sorry.
Daniel Zarro's Brito. You're Mexican.
Mr. Brito.
Dude, I was totally thinking that. I didn't want to say it. I was like, yes, he's Mexican. He can't even say the name right.
I thought it was pronounced Brito, but anyways, he kept pretty much dodging every summons, every thing to get this taken care of, basically. But I feel like that one hit really home to me because hell, it was in Tucson where I used to live.
Yeah.
Right down the road from me, basically, and here I am, always flaunting my freedom hat, and yeah, it's a story I followed for quite a bit. As far as I know, it's kind of been dead for a bit.
I don't know. You have 2 kids. Is that really considered freedom?
True story. Life of a parent.
Right?
None of us are truly free. Let's be honest. Every once in a while, I love my kids, but every once in a while, I'm like, dang it. Like, I should just wait a little longer. But the real thing is, I think it is a good thing we don't know what parenthood is actually like before we have kids, because sometimes, looking back, every once in a while, we're like, yeah.
I don't know. You made that choice 3 times. So.
I know, dang it.
One kid in particular I love to death, but I really regret the person I had sex with.
No, see, that can suck too. That really does suck. That does. I'm sorry.
But anyways.
Yeah, so did you have one other one you want to share, or something you feel that's important for people to know about? Out of your,
I don't know. Give him a minute. He's got to navigate his 1400.
All right. Well, while he's navigating that, I'll at least ask a question then. Micah, do you have a question for them or no? No. Okay.
No.
So, Courtney, for the fun of it, yeah, don't you dare cover up that.
Yeah, don't cover that crap up.
$67.
I noticed that when Micah kind of positions himself a little bit, it almost looks like he's outlining the black, the tread on me with his face. It's closed.
What's that? Oh, yeah. On the burn marks?
Yeah.
He said that thing costed him like $60 or something to get, because it's like stained or burnt wood.
Could have made it for free.
Couldn't have made it that well.
So, are you guys, because you guys are in Arizona, so I got to ask, because it's relatively close to an important area in ufology and stuff. What are your guys' opinions on aliens?
Yep, see, I knew it.
So I can't help it. Micah.
One note on that. It wasn't like $65. The only reason to have it up is I wanted to get the 3x5, but it was like $500. So I went with the $150 smaller one.
Oh my God.
150?
Alright. I love America, but I'll make my
spent
own.
a lot of money on it, yeah.
So you like that fancy wood. I can right out.
Laser and gray.
Well, he likes the fancy wood so he can go got wood.
Did you say it's military grade?
Yes,
I
you see the wood on your background there? Yes,
What I said was it's laser engraved.
Okay, laser engraved. I was to say, how do you get military grade wood? Like, that is not a thing.
It withstands bombs.
Gosh.
It's got a stamp.
God's sake. But yeah, I interrupted you guys. You guys were discussing your opinion on UFOs, aliens, and if they are separate, and your overall thought.
Go ahead.
Well, Daniel has sworn up and down that he's been probed by aliens before, so, I mean, we
He
play...
explained to us what you did to him in the beginning of the episode. He did.
I'm not even bullshitting.
Hey, you liked it, so I don't hear it.
I didn't know what was going on. Okay.
What he said. I feel violated. Oh my gosh. So wait, so this is a real thing? You're saying that you feel like you have been probed or something happened?
Oh my God. No.
I like thinking on him about it, but that was actually a remark towards what he openly admitted. So,
Just
but
put a finger in my butt.
Turns out I was just really high on some shrooms, and it was just me in a room alone.
he enjoyed it so much that even playing Cards Against Humanity, he gets all the anal cards.
Okay, in my defense on that one, okay? I can't help the cards that I'm dealt, okay?
I don't know, because he
That's fair.
picks them up and puts them back sometimes.
I get a bunch of anal butt stuff cards, okay?
Hey, listen,
And I'll play them every time.
that's true.
He cracks up like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, white girl wasted on wine playing Mario Kart is super fun to do.
Oh man.
But anyways, we can get back to the illegal talk.
Yeah. We were
But you're
rambling.
gonna let me answer first.
Okay, you can answer first.
Anyways, my outlook of it is I firmly feel, and it's not because I'm white, but I firmly feel that.
Caucasian.
Yeah, that's right. Get it right.
Yeah.
Easy.
Anyways, it doesn't matter what race I am. How about that?
Can you finish?
I don't know. I've been waiting to finish for 2 years. Anyways.
Well, that took a turn.
I firmly feel that if they want to come to America, I really don't have an issue with it, but you should do it the correct way. All of the other Hispanics that have come here doing things the right way, spent the years doing the paperwork, taking the tests, doing what they need to, along with the money involved, to come here to have a better life, they're spitting on those responsible people, the people that worked hard. And on top of that, that's part of why our economy, in my opinion, is going downhill, because with illegals coming over with no insurance, but somebody has to take care of them, with no jobs, but somebody has to take care of
No
them.
documentation of any sort, really.
Exactly. And then they come over thinking they're pretty much free to do whatever they want.
We Medicare health all for all. And
Oh,
we will-
God. Alright, Sanders.
But
Alright, I'm down.
they come over doing whatever they want, from, hit and runs on him all the way to, basically just living off of the government. And who has to suffer for that? The hardworking Americans. We have to pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You kind of sound like a
have
Trump
to-
supporter. Just a little. I'm just kidding.
I mean, she flat out said that.
No, I'm serious though. We do have to pay for it.
This is why women
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, to be, if you don't mind me asking, Daniel, and we'll keep going with you here, Katrina, I just wanted your input on this. I cannot remember because I don't think it's ever really come up before, but did your parents, or like at what point did your family come over? Did you have anybody who had to go through the process, or was it like back in the day when everybody's parents just came over and it was just whatever?
I don't know, dude.
You really don't, because mine's ways back too. Like,
My biological dad took off when I was very little, so and I don't know anything. All I know
you said
is
that your mom
he,
said he was a flame.
yeah, he was a one-night stand.
There you go.
That says a lot about him.
dude, that was how I got here. So rep up,
Yeah, no, but yeah, from what I know, he came from Hermosillo over in Texas. That's about
Okay.
it. All I know.
Nice. I gotcha. I didn't know all that.
It is a problem, to be honest, down here. It being really close to the border, I really don't know how to say it, but it really opens up a lot of doors that can be negative.
Like, for example, the children being kept in, cages.
That's bullshit.
Families have been separated through immigration like that for years, well before Trump ever came into office, well before even Clinton was in office, and nobody complained about it then until Trump started saying he wanted to give us better border patrol, which they were perfectly happy with until he started doing it. At the
Well,
point
yeah, because
that he
every
started
president
saying
said it going in. That's been like one of their running things. They've
and
all
everybody
said it.
forgets. Yeah, everybody forgets that Obama said the same thing, but he
Mhm.
wasn't racist then. Maybe it was because of his skin color that he wasn't considered racist, but I don't know.
It
I'm
was
just
in a
saying.
worse shape with the Obama and Clinton administration than it is now.
Yes.
It's doing a lot better.
I mean, honestly, in a way, I don't feel that families should be separated because of the hard feelings that it does cause. But at the same time, don't put your children in that situation. Even if you are trying to better their lives, don't put them in the situation that you will not be with them.
It's a safety concern down here too. You don't know if this kid, the adults, that were around this kid, if those are his parents.
Mm-hmm.
They are trained, they're basically brainwashed, to say certain things. They could go and say like, yeah, this is my dad, this is whoever, but in reality, that could be a sex trafficker, for example.
I mean,
it's done for a reason, to protect those kids, and that's where a lot of people are so misinformed on.
Well, people think that kids can't be used. How many kids were used as bombs in Iraq?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Children have always been used in war. You mean, you look at Vietnam and you go through all that terrible part of our history, and then how that played out. But you're absolutely right. Even currently, what's happened in the Middle East has been bad, to put it lightly.
It actually kind of makes me laugh because I was watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and one of the episodes on there, Will Smith brings Trump onto the show because supposedly they're trying to sell the house or whatever, right? So he's offering to buy the house, and his little cousin Ashley comes up and basically treats him like crap, says something terrible to him. I don't remember what it was, and Will's all like, Ashley, and went running after him. And then Ivanka turns around and she goes, what was that about? And he goes, I don't know. People are always blaming me for everything. And it's just funny because he even knew back then. I mean, this was back when he still had hair. So, I mean... But it just made me laugh because even back then he knew he was going to have a hard time. He knew he was going to have a rough life. But, I mean, Trump is being blamed for everything from the immigration all the way to the pandemic right now. But I find it funny.
Trump virus 2020.
I just find it funny how many people, especially people like Hillary, have forgotten how supportive they were of Trump before he became a president.
Yeah, she was all for it. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
She
he was a Democrat back then.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter whether they were Democrat or Republican. They still said at one point, this man, given everything that he has done and the person he is, that he would have been the perfect choice for president. Now she's the one to point out his shortcomings and any mistakes that he's made and things like that, just because she didn't get that chance to run. But on whose hands is it that they have the most American blood?
Yeah.
We can start counting. Get a nice long list over here.
Are we saying just Hillary specifically, or just that idea of that particular party?
I mean, honestly, I was thinking Hillary in specific, but if you want to be general with it, we can go ahead with it. But I still think that she would be higher in count.
That is true. No, she.
He fucking took this.
And what were you doing?
Oh, she couldn't see you? That's funny.
It's kinda...
Oh, she'll see it later.
I don't know if it was on
What are you doing? Flashing everybody?
No, I was dancing.
So, you know what's funny is you guys were bringing up Mexico. There was an episode that a gentleman came on the Joe Rogan show, and he was talking to him because he used to be part of the what are they called? The federales, is that what they're called? But he was like the secret force stuff, like the ones that break up the drugs and everything. But he was talking about how those guys, oh man, what's it called? What's the like the drug lords? What are they called?
Cartel.
The cartel. Thank you. How they run everything and how they've made all this money over this time, and they've sent all their children here. And their children that they sent over here back in the 80s and 90s are now becoming into some very powerful positions within the United States. And he was saying how when we pulled everything out of Mexico, like Trump did, that a bunch of China moved in where all the uranium at. And with all that uranium, that's going to be huge going forward with all the battery-powered things like vehicles and all that stuff. So the guy literally on Joe's show, he said the next World War III will start from Mexico and us. That's where he said it's going to take place. Because he said if we don't stop this now, he's like he goes, it's flat out that the cartel owns everything over there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who was it? Was El Chapo's son that was got arrested, and they had to release him?
Yeah.
He said with the play and the news media, they showed the video, but he goes, what they didn't tell you in that conversation was those guys, they all know each other. So when they pulled him over, they're like, hey, so-and-so, how's it going? He's like, hey, listen, we literally got your whole village and your family surrounded, so either you guys decide, you let him go, we call it what it is, you guys made a mistake, or we take everybody out right now. Yeah. So, but he was saying that if we're not careful, slowly but surely through different parts of the country, that could take place. You know, and I'm no expert on any of that stuff.
They're doing that because they know our southern border is it's weak. There's no support behind it. You know what I mean? They know they can just get right through, and that kind of sucks.
So you're telling me you don't think Joe Biden wins this? Are you?
Hell no. Hell no.
Last I heard, I thought he pulled out.
He could, for all we know.
No, he's the nominee. Oh, he's the nominee.
Basically.
Vote blue, no matter who. So.
With Warren pulled out, thank God.
Let's think about it, though. He could win, right? Like, if he won, he could be super intimidating. Like, with other world leaders, he'd, like, come into the meeting and, like, get up behind him and be like... You know, that could be an intimidating factor at every meeting. He just sniffs their hair.
Oh, God.
That Dove Ben. That's really good. I like that. Dove Ben.
Yeah, and then he casually asks everybody why he's here.
What country is this?
Honestly... If he did win, it would be a serious decline in our...
Oh, Lord, have mercy. If people thought things were going to be bad with Trump, and everybody legitimately thought Trump was going to start World War III, I kind of was on the fence. Could you, Joe, there's no way whoever was his cabinet members and his vice president would be running the show for sure in Congress, because Joe is just, and there are people defending him saying that, what the one say, Micah? It reminds them of their cute grandpa who has Alzheimer's or something like that.
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just a sweet old guy.
Reminds me if you forget sweet old guy. You remember which button is room service and which one launches the nukes. Whatever, just push it. God's sake. Anyways,
have you guys heard of Michelle Obama thinking about jumping in?
No, for this election.
It's late right now.
Yeah. There was talk about it back when Trump was first being elected.
And just recently too.
I don't think she would do it now, only because I think they realized that there was too much support for Trump, so they were going to wait. I could see her being a nominee like the next election, like 2024.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I could see that.
In my opinion, like for example with Hillary, in my opinion, I feel like through Clinton, she already had her time. I don't think she should be allowed again.
Don't tell her that.
I mean, when you're walking around holding someone's dick by a string saying, do this, I mean...
Basically, he was a little puppet.
He was. That's why he slept around. It's the only freedom he had.
He had some free time.
God, that guy. Do you ever see the manifesto of how many trips he took with Jeffrey Epstein? My buddy Jeffrey. We took 21 trips to the island out there. Have you guys ever seen that? Yeah, it was like 21 trips to Fantasy Island or whatever you called that island out there. He was just a good buddy of mine. It's like, what? Like, you guys just hung out? Like, that makes zero sense.
Anyways, I keep going on and on, but if y'all are wanting to end this...
Yeah, I could too.
For sure. We'll get another one set up one time with you guys on an episode. We'll bring you on, whether it be political or... You know, whatever stuff you guys are into, aliens or Bigfoot. You know.
Wait. Stop it right there. Yeah. Not whatever you're into.
I mean, I will talk about whatever you're
I can't say much because I logged on to Facebook earlier and it popped up whenever I went to try to go to my profile. It popped up something that I would be interested in. It said something about Bigfoot encounters during COVID-19. I'm like, where's fact checkers during this? Like,
does nobody think
this is something Facebook says is true? So
does nobody think it's a little weird? Like, do you think something's going down and that's why we were all asked to stay home? Did something happen? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
What?
No, he has no opinion about that.
No, she got distracted for a minute. She saw the message
I saw the picture you sent.
That thing.
The picture I sent. Oh, the picture he sent. Okay, I didn't
Snapshot
send any
you did.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you had to send it. I think it just sent.
Nice, perfect.
But I'm sorry. Say it again.
No, I was just gonna say, in closing thoughts, if there's anything you guys want to add, we'll definitely get it set back up if you guys want to come back on sometime. Obviously, Daniel, I know you're part of our Facebook page. I don't know if you are or not, but you can join the conversation there. We're always talking about stuff. People post stuff daily. Some good, some bad, but we welcome all conversations. The main thing about our show is that we're all different. We have differences, but we're all kind of equal, and all share these ideas. This is the whole main idea.
No, we're not.
Of canceling culture out to basically say you're not allowed to give an opinion is messed up, because what it does is it closes out conversations, and that creates hate, and that's where things fester and groups pop up that are bad and terrible. So that's kind of what we do on the show, besides talking about all the weird crap, but that's mainly my thing. Mike deals with our political stuff. So, Mike, you want to give any closing thoughts on this one?
No, other than I think people should really look at what could potentially be going on with the whole COVID-19 thing, because
here we go.
There's no precedent for
they took our jobs
over a freaking flu. Like, I don't know. I feel like the whole William and I talked about it on an episode we're not airing, but Project Bluebeam.
Project Bluebeam.
Yeah. I don't know that I buy everything in that story, but I mean, he basically laid it out as like they're going to use some type of world pandemic to basically start the world, the new order for the world, and like the religion, everyone's religion, like their Jesus or whoever it is to them is going to come to them and like be the second coming of Christ, and then the Antichrist is going to show up and lead everyone down to hell. So it's really fantastic. Again, probably don't believe all of it, but I don't know. Like, I feel like there's not really a whole lot of reasons to shut down the entire world.
Yeah.
But
I feel you.
Controlling people.
Yeah.
Instill that fear, and people fucking flock like a bunch of sheep.
That's true.
Yeah, finally said it. They stopped himself earlier.
But it's true. It's true. People do, right? Fear causes us to do things that are not
That's
good,
true.
and we can end up in some very bad situations based on fear. That's how the old Edward Snowden thing happened, with them all tracking us on all of our phones and all that. That's literally all from 9/11. 5 people out of 174 Congress members voted on this. Nancy Pelosi being one of the 5 that passed the bill out of 174 votes. I think it was 174 or 75 votes. And now we're all tracked at all times, and we know it, and it's just like a regular thing. Like, we just make memes about it now. So, I mean,
That's all I do. I don't even face it. Like,
that's how we cope.
Like, one of my posts on Facebook was, does anybody else expect to see Armageddon when they walk out their door, or is that just people?
Pretty much at this point.
I mean, it's kind of funny that we're supposed to be in the middle of this very dangerous pandemic, which most people seem to recover from, but nobody's saying that. But, you expect to walk out the door and see people panicking, fires everywhere, cars flipped over, but there's not. You just have people breaking into cars here and trying to steal stuff, or actually even what one of my friends said is that they were broken into in Texas, and people that came in literally just stole their hand soap and toilet paper.
Awesome.
Jesus.
I'm going to risk armed robbery for some toilet paper. Yeah, sign me up, boys. That's awful. But, desperate times call for desperate measures, so,
Of course, I can't understand why people are going crazy over toilet paper anyway. The toilet is right next to one of the best cleaning devices in the world. It's called a shower.
It's true. Times get that bad.
Be old-fashioned about it. Get up, wash your butt in the shower, or do what this one dude did. This really redneck guy. Yeah, real redneck guy. I can't remember his name, but he's kind of bald and he's got a beard. But he went out and he bought one of what he calls a butt cleaner, and it's a bidet. And he puts it in the toilet and he like demonstrates it while sitting on the toilet, and he's all like, "Whoa, that goes all the way up your nose right there." He's literally just going crazy with it. But he was like, "I definitely recommend this over toilet paper. It's very pleasurable." That's
hilarious. Yeah. I guess that's what we should recommend everybody to do. And again, I'm not telling you what to do, but anybody who's listening to this or watch this, just take a step back and evaluate things. Pretend you didn't have the media telling you what to do. What are your actual thoughts on things? What are your real thoughts? And, what information can you find? And try to balance that out, across the board on multiple planes, whether you follow CNN or Fox or MSNBC or whatever, or alternate, media sources like ourselves or other people, and just see what kind of makes the most sense and what is factually based if we can, factually base it. I know we're just a couple dudes in our basement, but like almost every time we've done a show, we have posted factual links. We posted. I went on the CIA website and downloaded PDF files and links from the CIA website to post our stuff. So sometimes you can have two guys that are just giving you more information than maybe the main news, street or the mainstream news media. So I would say question most things. Like we always say on the show, I always say, stay curious and keep it weird at the end. But that's really true. I mean, stay curious about things and just look it up for yourself. Make sure it's something you actually believe and not just, this guy shared this post from this guy and, run with that as your new belief. Look it up, find out why you believe it and why you support it. That's my only thought on it.
My only closing thought, because I do have to go eat, I got off of work a little while ago. My only closing thought is I want to encourage not just women, but men as well to take a step back and look at things from their point of view as well. Deep down from your personal right or wrong attitude that you were taught from young age, what do you truly feel is correct? What do you think should be done about abortions, about immigrants, about COVID-19? How do you really feel it should be taken care of? Instead of listening to how the media says you should take care of it. I mean, if you wash your hands, drink a lot of water, keep yourself healthy in that way, you will be fine during COVID-19. You don't have to, go through all of these wicked measures just to keep yourself clean. Just practice basic hygiene that you were supposed to be taught when you were young, and you'll be fine. I work at a vet clinic. I mess with nasty dogs and, urine, feces, mouths, everything on a daily. And I've also got people coming from post here where we're at that are also affected by COVID-19 there. And I'm taking a great chance with my 9-month-old here. But all of us are fine because guess who practices hygiene? It's really not that hard. I'm just saying, just use your brain. That's why you have it. You were not made to simply follow orders and follow what somebody else tells you to do. You were made to think on your own. That's why you were given free thought. I don't care if you look at it from a religious standpoint. I don't care if you look at it from, a regular scientific standpoint. You were still given a brain to think. So use it.
Agreed.
Rainbows and sunshines there.
Always really perfect moods.
It's good.
Any closing thoughts from you there, Daniel, or do you feel she summed it up for you?
Nah, she's my other half.
She's your other half? Said it all. Wise words. What about you, Mike? Anything you want to add there?
I know, dude. You've been quiet as fuck the whole night.
Listen, I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, and right now it is 2 o'clock in the morning here. I don't normally stay up for excessive amounts of time. For me, 20 hours is a lot. So,
hey, you used to have no problem doing it when we were younger, so what's the problem now?
Sure.
I have children, and I also have a wife that I gotta get up in the morning to be with. So,
I mean, think about it. You don't quit playing because you grow old. You grow old because you quit playing. So
it's true. It's true. He has been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, so
I have actually. I got back into a little bit of Call of Duty. Started playing Modern Warfare.
Hey, I can't say much. World of Warcraft and League right here. So.
There you go.
William has no idea what either one of those are.
What? No, I know World of Warcraft. I didn't know the second one because I didn't quite hear. Did you say Lead?
League.
League of Legends.
Oh, League of Legends. I know. Okay, I do know both the games. Never played League of Legends.
I'm not gonna lie.
yourself.
I'm an okay support.
Oh god, no, dude, she's one of the best supports I'll ever find out there. Nah, I'm dead ass serious, man. Anytime I'm having like
Well,
I
when
play
you
a lot
don't
of
Leroy Jenkins shit, I can kind of keep up with you.
Leroy Jenkins. Still the best video ever. God, I love that video.
Alright guys, well thanks for having us on.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have to do it again. And for our listeners, as always, stay curious and definitely keep it weird.